Yeah, very keen for this one. It's two teams that are far from the peak of their powers, both with a lot to lose in this series, but much to gain if they can continue their run towards the SLC Major. Yeah, this is going to be an absolute banging matchup, expecting a grueling 3-mapper between the two. As Lax was saying, the map's not as relevant necessarily with these two facing off so frequently. Comes down to on the day who can translate the game plan, who can adapt, and who has the confidence, I think, to get this one over the line. We've seen so much talk about both of these two teams. It's about putting that in the background and delivering on the day. Can't wait to jump into this one.
And the bad news for Shopify Rebellion coming into this series, guys, if you want to kind of paint the picture, is there is not a single statistical category that they're better at than M80. M80 have every single basis covered throughout group stage and, of course, the playoffs of NAL this stage. There's just nothing. There's not one point you can go to and say, oh, Shopify Rebellion are a little bit better in this or that. Nothing. And so that's the concern for me coming into this series. M80 should be too good and should, but also at the same time, Shopify Rebellion should also be making majors. It's a real strange predicament that we find ourselves in. We head to border first up. I just hope it's a contest, a competitive one, and one to remember in this match, and that it doesn't maybe end up in a similar vein to the Space Station Cloud9 match that we just saw.
Totally agree. I think I am already preemptively sad and disappointed for whichever team loses this one. It's going to be tough for that roster because they will both feel as if they are worthy and good enough to make the major. Ashen, early engagement on the Deimos. The bans to note for this first half: Azami, Allah, Ying, and Capitao. Border the map, of course, and expecting it to be high intensity off the rip from both teams. Trying to find an early advantage and trying to build confidence into this series.
I think Border as well as a map, I want to see Ashen really pop off. This just feels like his bread and butter. On the Deimos, roam around, find the entry frags, be in the face of Rebellion. And on the flip side, then maybe Ambi too to counter, who's been statistically the best player this stage for Rebellion. Ashen, actually, speaking of him, I've put the complete caster curse. He's the first one down, caught by Surf up above as Shopify Rebellion will get the opening kill. 90 seconds to go in the opening round. First blood is drawn, and it is the Deimos that has been taken off the board. Relieves the pressure valve a little bit now for the defense.
Yeah, it seemed as if
their map pick as well.
I think it is as if they were posturing for the half-wall clear to eventually go for maybe even a sandwich plan. So that immediately prompts the reposition from hot and cold. Backup plan now to be initiated archive side, it would appear. Quite a bit of utility potentially layered though between them and a potential plant. So it's a tricky position that M80 find themselves in.
Yeah, and the stall out has cost them now. Might mean they have to shuffle over to a plan B course of action. Hot and cold deals with barbed wire towards the office entry. Still a gas babe available for Canadian. Razor Bloom shell in pocket too for Ambi. M80 have just really cooled off the pacing after losing Ashen. Hot and cold though, just quietly pushing through offices, and Canadian needs to be careful if he does peek that open hole in the wall. But Hot and Cold can't just sit there forever and wait and hope that Canadian makes a misstep. As Rexon stands up inside a fountain, diffuser looking for the swing clear, hits the headshot onto Rexon, a little too slow to react, and Gavin also got the headshot onto Serve. Response from Spoit. Canadian got his kill at least onto Hot and Cold. Held nicely towards Archives. Ambi though got swarmed in a 2v1. Spoit in the 1v2, 5 seconds left with the DMR, and he got one shot. No, he technically didn't defuse against the last 2 kills. He cops the team kill and then the main kill as M80 still the opening round.
Wow. A steal indeed, a snatch and grab. It was an awkward start to the round. Again, I think they were pretty heavily invested in the half-full clear and potentially then the sandwich follow-up or some kind of play armory side. We see the pivot. It was somewhat of a stall. I think they were still doing a decent job at maintaining some semblance of tempo. They were chipping away at that office control, but it looked rough at this position. But then Diffuser, well, he came alive, unlocked the cross fountain, opened the route for Gav as well to go deep in towards site. Spoit then under the pump in the 1v2, and despite the team kill, M80 take round 1 of Border.
Yeah, it just shows their power, doesn't it, for M80, that even though they lost that Deimos pressure early, couldn't maybe go for the sandwich entry plant that they potentially had as plan A. Hard to really say. And then I thought the defense as well from Shopify Rebellion was pretty compact. They didn't really throw bodies away. Just some really good clears from M80. And even with 5 seconds to go, yeah, it's a 2v1, but Spoit has the chance to play spoil, but Diffuse is just sharp. Too sharp, even getting a team kill. That did not matter in the end because he got the main kill onto Spoit as well. So M80 get away with that one in the first round. Those are the rounds that for Shopify Rebellion, it's just one round, but it starts as just one round. And quite frankly as well, when you take into consideration the site objective too, and border defense, you probably have to be winning those sort of rounds. Armory Archives, top floor on border defense, and you've got a somewhat decent advantage. That's a big round for M80. As Ambi searching on the souls here in the second round, getting the drone information. And of course can find out where Ashen is located as well, along with Hot and Cold, who's got Kit.
Yeah, Border is shaped up to be pretty attacker-sided NAL kickoff, but I think it's more so the nature of if we see Shopify Rebellion in advantageous positions and then a trend starts to develop where they're finding it difficult to convert, I think that's only going to diminish their confidence, which may already be a little shaken heading into this game to begin with, given how things have played out so far. So it's only one round, but we'll see how it now develops. M80 aggressive through lobby, smoke deployed, can Solace deny from above.
Yeah, I mean, they're going for the plant that's obvious. Ambi can only kind of just call out here and hope that others can stop this plant, which they have been able to stop the process of the plant, but Ashen on this blitz can be a bit of a nuisance. They did lose Gunner, that's fine. As Rexon is also in the grave, as Gavin then gets rid of Spoit and Surf falls at the same time. Diffuser, 2 more, how about that? In the first 2 rounds from Diffuser, hot and cold, no one to stop him this time, and it's a clean attack from M80. Super fast pace in the second round on border. Completely break open site. Vent Workshop can be susceptible to the rushes, and even with the information from the Solar Scars, there wasn't a whole lot that Shopify Rebellion could do about it.
Yeah, that was a lovely little attack. Love the quick early tempo, but then they don't overcommit to the plant. They don't forfeit lives absolutely. Committing to that is the win condition for the round. They were willing to reposition. They then allowed the attack to be split. Top floor control, then over towards Archives compounded, and it made it so difficult for Shopify Rebellion to do much in that round. I mean, this play right here was massive from Diffuser to find the double. And while Ambi did have impact early round in denying the first plant attempt, or at least dismissing the first plant attempt, ultimately succumbed to that pressure up above as well. So it's a solid start from M80. That second round even more convincing, I would argue, than the one prior. So the spotlight is shining bright on Shopify Rebellion right now. They'll go to the tertiary site of choice for round number 3 before the additional ban get introduced. It's customs, but it's a slightly off-meta selection to what we would typically expect on border. Not completely unprecedented, of course, but it is the least played in NAL for Kickoff so far. This is only its 3rd appearance.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting as you kind of brought up the statistics. So NAL this stage in general has actually been far more attacker-sided than the global scene. So globally, there's only 2 maps that are actually attacker-sided in the month of April. As a Night Assault from Canadian gets a bit of damage, and certainly a lot of damage on to Gavin. Those 2 maps being Chalet and Bank. But in the North American League, there's 5 maps that are attacker-sided, and 1 that's net neutral 50%, which is Lair. So it's not quite been the pattern that you see globally from what you're seeing in the North American League, and certainly means that for this match at border, certainly I think a 4-2 half for M80 is probably almost the pass mark with how dominant teams have been in this region attacking on these sort of maps. And that's why it's an even bigger missed opportunity for Shopify Rebellion. They probably should have won that first round, and that would have been a really good way to start on the defense. And then lo and behold, in the second round, M80 bring the pace up, and well, Rebellion couldn't stop it. But that nitro assault from Canadian certainly just offset the attack of M80 a little bit. Got some good damage in. The Spoit sits over towards CCTV. He can get some information. Cadal double kill goes the way of Shopify Rebellion, courtesy of Ambi and Canadian. Asher will fall. The smoke not helping him on the glass. And this is the best round that we've seen from Rebellion so far. Total dominance against what looked to try and be another rush attempt for M80 on the clear. Did not work, as SR were well and truly set up.
It was an all-in play there from M80, layering the smokes on the bulk, and unfortunately the Glaz was not able to quite find value. Then the second half of that push through was well read into by the defense, and solid work there from SR. Able to respond, try to build a little more confidence. Quite intrigued to see now what the additional bans may end up being here from either side, what they've identified as being a threat so far, what they don't want to deal with going forward for the next rotation. So understandably, it's the mirror, then to the Glaz, probably in response to that most recent play, and just generally a very, very strong operator. At the conclusion of the ban phase, Shopify Rebellion will now elect to take their tactical timeout as they look to try and mount a round streak here on border in a half that's been certainly lopsided against them, but I think after taking down the tertiary site, maybe they'll be a little more confident. I mean, lopsided in the sense that I think round 1 was an advantage that went astray. Round 2 was high tempo, that they weren't able to withstand that site pressure. But I will say their ability to then consolidate round 3 has been a positive sign. So,
I mean, they've also got.
Wonder what the...
Well, they've also got all 3 of the opening kills.
That is true. So, and is that more so a concern than the lack of conversion borders?
Well, I mean, that's the thing.
Typically, it's an extremely high conversion.
The opening round they should have won. I think we can both agree on that one. I mean, should have is kind of subjective, because clearly you don't want to take anything away from what M80 did. They were in the position to win that round. Is probably the better way to phrase it. This round here was, I think, arguably the most dominant round that we've actually seen from either of the two teams. The second round was just clearly a rush plant attempt from M80 that Rebellion just maybe weren't quite ready for, despite getting the opening kill from Rexon on the gunner. I mean, it's a 2-1 scoreline. Rebellion's got a round on the board defensively, as we kind of just spoke about before, in terms of the statistics, kind of attacker-sided, and that's the expectation for this map. And I like the proactiveness in the timeout. Almost a case, I think, here for SR, where we're doing some good things. We're in this game. Let's keep our heads on a swivel and just make sure we're proactive. Don't let things get out of hand. So now we'll see what happens here going into the next 3 rounds of this first half. Because if Shopify Rebellion can go on a little bit of a roll here, it's a timely run then going into the second half where they can get on the attack. But easier said than done against M80.
Yeah. Absolutely. Twitch in play for round 4. Diffuser will be eager to counter, most notably the Goyo in this round. Can you find line of sight from Office? Perhaps. At minimum, though, good information to aid on this sweep across for the attack. Diffuser, in the meantime, did find some of that util and keep the shot train in play. Elsewhere, hot and cold, detention entry for him. Gunner also below. It's a bit of a double down on the first floor here from M80. Maybe looking to layer some vert pressure onto those on site. Canadian on the clash for this round. He'll need to be very mindful of that vert pressure, one of the weaknesses of that particular operator, especially when stationary.
Step back!
Feels like a lot of information has been gathered by this attack, and M80 are now looking to start converting that.
Yeah, I mean, you can get the information, but it's just a matter of them playing off it. And that's exactly what Hot and Cold is going to try to do from here down below over towards Customs. If they go head-on horizontally, you're probably going to have to deal with Canadian if you want to clear out security. Tap from Gavin, and goodbye to Spoit. One tap is all you need, apparently, and Spoit goes down, and that can open up a bit of a flood on the top floor now for M80. This is where it's imperative for Canadian to get involved. They go around him again by finding Ambi. And that's now prompted the rotate from Canadian through security, past Fountain, and into office, expecting this push from M80 in this direction. He is right, as we can see, has made the right call, but they then catch Rexon in the hallway. I mean, there's only so much that you can expect from the clash. If everyone's just getting picked from every single angle, Canadian can't be in 5 different places. He's the last one alive. He's done nothing wrong in the round. Everyone has just been so easily picked apart. That is a wonderful round from M80.
Yep. I love the patience from that M80 attack early. They laid a lot of information with shock drones, regular drones, the Deimos death marks. They kept Spoit honest and under pressure with that particular death mark. And then as he repositioned, sure, it was a pretty insane shot, but a clean one nonetheless from Gav. Cheeky little one tap, and that opens up the round. And they're the kind of team M80 from that point that do not hesitate. They collapsed really nicely. Again, aided by all the info they had gathered prior to that. Here's a replay of that clean tap, bang. And then it didn't take too much longer for that double down for a second for Gav. And as you were sort of alluding to at the end of the round, there's not really much, at least Canadian specifically, filtered for in that round. You're not going to get value from Clash when it's so many long range, isolated picks like that. No U-tool layering or projectile layering in that round. It's very difficult. Well, it's impossible really if you need to be in so many positions actively at once and have value in the round. So challenging one there for Shopify Rebellion. And a return to form for M80.
I mean, that's just got to be awareness of, you know, what are the angles, what's vulnerable, what can M80 play off of in terms of trying to get those free picks. I mean, you shouldn't really ever be losing Armory Archives in that kind of fashion. It should be a scrap. It should be a bit more of a brawl. The fight should be, you know, the sweep through Fountain and Office and top metal, at least in towards the site. You really want it to be almost like fighting in the mud. But M80 just made that so clean. Just being able to find those easy picks, just pretty much one after the other. That's the concern for Shopify Rebellion now, is they've just not found any semblance of defense on this top floor. They back-to-back workshop, which of course last time out was the rush from M80 that worked to perfection. By the way, also, that was the first round that M80 finally got an opening kill too, and they made then quick work of that round with a flawless round. I mean, it's early days here, and again, expecting this to be attacker-sided, but M80 have been the better team. No doubt about that.
M80 continue to test Ambi on the Solace as Canadian gets littered with utility, and the flush out is absolutely spot on M80. Find an opening kill once again.
And it's a pretty common spot to flush out, and it's easily flushed out too. If he gets droned out and he's stuck bottom of his stairs and doesn't have catch, double frag grenade dump and he's just forced out into the open, and if he doesn't hit the swing, he's dead. So, I mean, that's a bit of a power position for the defense on border, that if you lose that spot, you give up quite a bit of space, not just on the first floor close to site, but also then the ability to play east stairs, and you lose the smoke. That is a big opening kill for M80 and can set this round up.
Yeah, minute on the clock now. 4 death marks available for Hot and Cold, so important that he prioritizes that. Be a horizontal threat. So too will Gunner from this lobby position. M80 not too far away from posturing for plank. Can Spoit hit the flank?
No, now he caught. Ashen's aware of it. Ambi does get a kill at least onto Gavin. As Ashen gets another onto Ambi, the quick trade was there. Still the advantage with M80. Leaves it down to Rexon and Surf. Surf will stay tucked in towards Archives. So Rexon's kind of by himself on the first floor, completely overwhelmed by Gunner and co. It's a full first floor hit from M80. They took the 3-on-1, executed quickly, and leaves Surf by himself. Not sure what he's planning with this Nitrocell. Throw with a hope and a prayer, but the prayer is not answered. Plant over towards Vent going down, and there's just nothing Surf can do. Looked completely bewildered up on the top floor. All too easy for M80 as they take a 4-1 lead.
I think I'm just a little shocked at the sheer volume of one-sided engagements that we're seeing in this matchup from M80, where either we see no fight back at all from Shopify Rebellion, that they're quite literally getting caught off guard or caught in positions where they can't fight back, or they're super one-sided where it's low percentage for Shopify Rebellion. That's a testament to the ability for M80 to set up these plays, to go for these kinds of flush outs, to catch these flanks from the likes of Spoit. They're ticking all the boxes at the moment to maintain really good tempo. And on a map like Border, where sometimes that can be tricky if teamwork isn't quite up to scratch, they're making it look quite seamless at the moment. This feels like a critical round for Shopify Rebellion. 4-2, as we keep saying, it's not all that bad if they can replicate attack on success, but 5-1 cushion, regardless of map stats, is always historically such a challenge to recover from. The win rate from that position at halftime is incredibly low.
I mean, this is a must-win for Shopify Rebellion, to be honest, in this round. Otherwise, the map almost then will probably be too much. I mean, it's hard to say going into the second half what their attack's going to look like, but again, statistically, it's not really been a strength of theirs this stage. They currently sit at a 40% attacker win rate in comparison to the 52% attacker win rate for M80. And where it gets worse is there is a 20% gap between these two teams on defense. M80 sit at a pretty healthy 62%. It's only 41% for Shopify Rebellion. As I said coming into this match, there is no statistical category that Shopify Rebellion are better at than M80, but some of those statistics, it is a wide gap. And the concern for me now is just how comfortable, especially the last two rounds, have been for M80. And so they've gotten the opening pick. So look what happens when they actually get those opening kills. They're converting, and they're winning the rounds with ease. The only rounds that Shopify Rebellion have looked somewhat competent is when they get the first advantage.
Great word from Diffuser this round. Got both Electro Claws with his Clutch drones, and that now opens up the route for more hard breach on the horizontal. You think about exposing that power position bot. He stares at Gav, just plucks another one.
What?
This dude has been insane on the entry so far, and he doubles down. What are they doing?
Oh, Gavin. I'm already kind of just morally defeated for Shopify Rebellion. Almost gets another onto Canadian. Canadian's trapped again here, by the way, and hasn't learned his lesson from the previous round. As Ashen just gets the free kill, finishes off the good work from Gavin. It's about to be a 5-1 half in favor of M80s. The logic bomb rings out onto Rexon and Spoit. Ashen will fall. Spoit gets one. Arguably needs far more than that, though. They're going to salvage this final round of the half. A 2v4 into the last minute. As Rexon has a swing opportunity. One on the rappel. He hasn't got the angle presented to him.
M80 will have a pretty strong read quickly here. They can go for the plant. Hot and cold to attempt. Tellers out in the open, and there's nothing the defense can do.
Double digits for Gavin. Man, there's not much that Rexon can do. He knew there were a couple out here on the rappel. He's shooting at the air. I mean, he's just completely lost. M80, 5-1. Not much more dominant halves than that, as they completely tore apart Shopify Rebellion, guys.
What is happening right now to Shopify Rebellion? I mean, we needed to see an improved team here coming out in the best of 3. That's what we said before, and it's what we're going to say now. Why aren't we seeing it? Like, what about this map just isn't working for them?
I feel like a little bit of a broken record, because every time we talk about Shopify Rebellion, we say they need to adapt. What does adapting mean? It means seeing what M80 is doing and then moving your units or utility to be able to counteract that. That's not what we see. And I feel like I was hoping that this border performance would be a little bit different, but every time that we've seen SR go to this map, it reinforces bad habits. Everyone's spread out on a small map. They're all spread out, so limited to each other, and their only adaptation is retakes. Oh, let's retake East, let's retake CC, let's do it together. But every time they try to do it, like in this clip right here, Spoit's pushing alone on his own. There's a person on the triple wall, but the communication between when they're going to hit their mark is not connecting, and that's the biggest issue for SR.
I mean, in some of these situations, I can't even fault SR at this point when Gavini's, you know, Spider-Man rappelling, grabbing one kill, going up to the second floor on the same rappel, getting another kill. But at the same time, yeah, it really is falling on Rebellion, just the positional awareness at this point. I mean, not understanding where a trade can happen, not understanding where you're going to be pushed from. I mean, again, it's a night and day difference in terms of two styles of play. You're seeing one end of M80 always with a purpose, playing together, going for that trade, going for that power position, powering those players in those positions. And then as Fox is saying, SR just kind of seems like, okay, you're holding this position, you die, then what's the next course of action? Where do we rotate to? How do we even help to assist you? And then in some of these situations, we're also seeing them just move too much or not move enough, and then it's just M80 stealing the entire round.
Yeah, I agree. M80 is playing the game exceptionally well. Everything has a purpose. They're adapting correctly. I mean, they'll take a position, and they're waiting for SR to make the wrong moves. So far, SR is not adapting. We need to see that instantly fixed going on to their attacks, and hopefully they're playing a lot more together, just because the attacks, there's only so many areas you can enter in
Bank
from.
forces the team play either way. It's such a constrictive map. There really shouldn't be a lot of scenarios where you at least aren't by a teammate, especially once you start getting into the map.
Yeah, on border.
Yeah, border 5-1. This really feels like M80 could easily run away with this unless Shopify Rebellion can get a handle on it now. Guys?
Yeah, now indeed, Jonah, absolutely. They're going to have to probably, I think, get the first 2 rounds at minimum. You know, get it back to 5-3, try and put some pressure on to M80. And I agree with Fox, guys, where the adaptation from Shopify Rebellion just really wasn't there. It was a lot of the same kind of stuff. And
defuse bombs.
I don't know, taught a lesson really about aggression. And we'll need to emulate that now in the second half. And who's that going to probably be? I think a lot of the reliance falls on Ambi. And I think that's probably been the case with Shopify Rebellion for quite a few months now, really over the last year. There's always been a heavy reliance on Ambi to get the entry kills, to get the multi-kills, to be the fragger, to set them up in the round. There needs to be help for him. He's been great again this stage. Statistically, Ambi's been in the top 10 on a Shopify Rebellion team that has struggled, never won a single game in regulation so far. I mean, he's done as best as he can, but he just needs some help. But we end in this situation coming in this second half. He's 4-6, that's fine. He's still technically got the most kills, but he's tasked with doing it all again.
Yeah. The one thing I would love to have a measurement unit for, but it's pretty much impossible. What is the confidence levels for Shopify Rebellion right now? It's been a massive talking point heading into this play day, where they are mentally, what is their confidence like? Do they truly believe they have what it takes within them to make this run through the lower bracket? And right here, right now, staring down a 5-1 scoreline against them, this is where you really get tested in that department. Now on attack, they'll be the playmakers, the dictators. They are looking to make plays against an M80 roster that is firing. Into round 7, blitz in play plus sense. It's going to be a direct archives hit here from the Rebellion.
Yeah, they're going to go for the rush. It's Surf that got the pick on the hot and cold. They've been able to get in towards Office. This is a good start for Rebellion as Rexon and Ambi combined, one apiece. And M80 tried to play the map. They tried to spread out, and it has cost them. They kind of left the front door wide open, and Shopify Rebellion say thank you very much. Oof. That was a pretty swift start to the second half, exactly what was needed, and did so in a way where I was kind of phrasing it on Ambi to be the fragger here on board or coming into the second half, but they did it with team coordination. Good early drone work, saw that there was a big gap in the defense and the site was vulnerable, and just took swift advantage.
Yeah, an authoritative attack and smiles all around on the player cams at the conclusion of that round as well, which is always great to see. Over to Tellers for round number 8. Another side that can be susceptible to directed.
Yeah.
Generally a lot more challenging. I do see the sense, though, selected initially here from SR, maybe suggesting it's util for the drop plate through bathroom, help assist the blitz as well. And so Canadian will be put to the test if that's to be deployed for map clearance as well.
5 seconds to go.
Surf switches late, Solid Snake in play. Should be a map clear here from Shopify.
And this will be a bit more of the test. Shopify Rebellion. I mean, they got good clear potential, and certainly when you bring Snake, Doc could be the Ash. You have frightening capabilities. Decent amount of trap utility from M80 in the round. Surf finds the opening kill onto Hot and Cold though.
My radar's picked up a threat nearby.
Who goes for the jump out.
Don't worry about near me.
Probably not necessary. Not certainly at this point in the round, but maybe thought he could catch the rappel off guard, but Surf was ready for it. And Surf then gets the second onto Diffuser. He's just gone straight into bathroom. Logic Bomb rings out from Spoit, and so far the early pacing from Shopify Rebellion has been great, but in some ways this round it was actually started off because of the jump out from Hot and Cold, and then Shopify Rebellion have just followed on from that and done so in a very dominant fashion. Ashton very low on health. At least gets the headshot onto Spoit, keeps the round alive temporarily. But you would imagine this should be a 3-5 scoreline now.
This is the lifetime clutch if he pulls it off, and not even allowed to drop. So it's back-to-back for Shopify Rebellion. 2 very convincing rounds. Surf takes the credit there for finding that opener and then quickly transitioning that into sight
The
pressure
entry.
directly. Doubled down, and
Well,
yeah, certainly a
you
question
know
mark over
there's
the
a-
initial pick, but
well, you know there's a heavy stack above, right? So when you get the jump out coming from Tellers, you think, well, he's just jumped out and I've just killed him. The site's very vulnerable, and so Surf playing the Solid Snake also has the information on the radar. So he's just playing the operator well, but the game sense is there naturally anyway, and he's quick to react and to understand that there's then another gap in the defense, and that's the concern right now for M80 to start the second half. They're just creating gaps in the defense, and Shopify Rebellion are exploiting. M80 should know full well they can win this map pretty comfortably if they just get this on their terms. Yeah, put pressure on from the windows, but don't jump out. Shore up your defense, but you don't have to 5-stack all together. You know, said on the desk where they were talking about the way that Shopify Rebellion were kind of spreading out too much on the defense, and
5 seconds left.
you know that then created a little long angles that obviously M80 were able to utilize. The defense was very spread, so they couldn't get the trade game. They were trying to do retakes, but it was, you know, kind of one at a time rather than all together. And to be fair, I haven't seen much better from M80 so far to start on their own defense. They too are kind of trying to spread the map. They're trying to do a little bit too much individual stuff. And then Shopify Rebellion are doing to M80 what M80 did to them. And so far, the two halves have played out pretty similar. That's good news for Shopify Rebellion. Mentally, they go, well, you know what? Maybe there isn't much of a difference between us. There's been one single defensive round win so far here on this map of Border. That was back in the 3rd round, custom supplied from Shopify Rebellion. That's the only main separating factor at the moment.
so it's back to Archives for the 9th round. An East Stairs hold gear from M80, rest of the team situated 2nd floor. Util late again directly here
It's gonna be
for Shopify Rebellion.
Arigo out, try and bait out maybe an early nitro or something. They just find the pick anyway, so you're just getting the free advantage. Now that forces Gunner to have to run through. Great angle at the window, successful plant. They do lose Canadian, but job's done, plant's down. The rush attempt again works for Shopify Rebellion, making quick work of Armory and Archives for the 2nd time in the half. 3v3, and we know that in a post-plant situation on this site in this position, it's very difficult for the defense. You're going to have to throw bodies at this and hope that you can hit quick headshots. There's no way you're going to be able to long arm this. Yeah, and this is just very slow pace from M80 too, not giving yourself any kind of chance. Diffuser catches the timing. Spoit just kind of turned away at the last second. There's no time on the clock anyway. It's 5-4. Shopify Rebellion have answered the call here in the 2nd half. That was a nice shot from Diffuser, but it means not a lot as the time expires. It's 3 straight to Rebellion, and they get within 1 now after a 5-1 half where it was very dominant, guys. Shopify Rebellion now doing the exact same.
Yeah, I posed the question heading into this half, what are the confidence levels like for Shopify Rebellion? And so far, it's looked really, really positive. And it's not just the end result. It's easy to walk away from round wins and be like, yeah, they were confident from the get-go. But I think maybe an indicating factor towards that is these second floor attacks. Both times, they've just gone for super simple, direct approaches. They dropped the blitz on that occasion, but they still bring the likes of the sense. And it was quite simply as easy as walking through the front door. The plan to NAL was very lackluster. M80 didn't have a Nitro available, and dashing through the sense was a low percentage play, as Gunnar quickly found out. So there's back-to-back attacking wins on Archives. Big positive boon for Shopify Rebellion, as M80 more than likely getting a scolding from Fabian as we speak.
I was going to say, that Cloud9 tactical timeout, someone's got to tell them they've been eliminated. Yeah, I mean, maybe not a scolding, to be honest, because this is the thing, and maybe we and certainly myself went maybe a little early in the first half. I mean, it was a very dominant performance from M80. They go 5-1 up, but sometimes it is a game of two halves. Actually, it is always a game of two halves. And so far, Shopify Rebellion are kind of just saying, yeah, this is just going to be an incredibly attacker-sided border. There's not going to be a lot of opportunities for the defense. Both teams defensively have got significant gaps and weaknesses that are being exploited. But it's the tempo from Shopify Rebellion that I think has served them really well. So you look at the opening kills, 2 minutes, 2 minutes and 23, and then 2 minutes. And as soon as I now see Canadian go onto the Monty, I do worry a little bit, not because of his either inability or ability to play the Monty, but will that slow them down pace-wise? Because that's clearly been working, and you don't usually want to move away from what's been working. Okay, so he changes it up. He'll go onto the Twitch, and they won't bring the shield. And I think in the grand scheme of things, I think that better suits Shopify Rebellion.
Yeah, we'll
Also,
certainly see.
quad nitrocell here for M80. Yeah. So definitely, luckily for Canadian, he switched off the Monty because he would have just been attracting those nitros.
Yeah, the Falcon play for M80 to support that. Shopify Rebellion electing not to bring IQ, who was available. The Canadian Eagle-Eye trying to find those alongside Ambi on the clutches as well. How much utility this duo can disrupt will have a significant impact on how the mid to late round does play out for M80. So critical that they do their due diligence, try and clear as much utility as they possibly can to reduce the strength of that quad nitro lineup, as you mentioned. Minute down. And more preliminary drone work to be completed here by the attack. In the meantime, Canadian lurks passport momentarily as Surfs and Tellers. Rest of the team outside.
Loading new mag.
Ranged hard breach to expose 90. M80 holding essentially each corner of the map currently, but not doing it in such a way where it's particularly high risk. Bird in play, preventing any lurk towards the objective. I like the setup at the moment from M80, not overplaying their hand currently.
And I said coming into this half, I thought maybe it was going to be Ambi, the one as well. It's this man right here. Literally beat me to the punch. Yeah, Surf has been absolutely magnificent in the second half. And Rexon has stood up massively too. So Rexon and Surf have come to the table here. They lose Spoit to Ashen. Logic Bomb rings out from Surf. Oh, a big battle through the softball as Ashen shuts down Rebellion's top man at the moment and gives M80 a slight lead. Canadian, can he clear out this left side? No, hot and cold. Able to dance around the shots from Canadian, but Ambi was there for the trade. Rather swiftly, but Gavin then shuts down Rexon and leaves Ambi in a 1v3 with 40 seconds to go. We haven't really seen a lot of clutches so far in this series. Certainly no big power statement plays. Could Ambi be the first? As he goes to put the plant down inside a server, he's forced off. He gets the kill onto Gunnar, but Gavin then hits a clean shot. And finally, M80 will win their first defensive round.
And you see the body language immediately there from hot and cold. I'll be pretty happy with how they've been able to convert the tack, but Just reminding everyone to relax, take some quite literal deep
Oh
breaths.
my goodness. Yeah, that was
That was a very deep breath. Certainly a stressful round. Yeah, the way that Shopify Rebellion laid pressure there was pretty interesting. It was a good start from Surf. Starts to unravel a little bit though on the top floor. Footholds from Ashen, and then Canadians push deep. That surge, it had to be successful to then try and force this defense back towards the side, and ultimately wasn't the case. They stick to the vert, and it works out.
Yeah, and Rebellion will be disappointed to know that was the first round that an opening kill has not been converted since the second round. And more importantly, they've now had 3 rounds that they've gotten the opening kill and not converted those. M80, every single time they've gotten the first pick, they've converted every single time. Which is only 3 rounds, funnily enough. The opening kill metrics, Shopify Rebellion have done really well here on border to give themselves early advantages, but then just not following through. And you go all the way back to that opening round. You know, there's a good example of a round where they were kind of leading until they weren't. Those are the differences. It's fine margins, especially when you're playing an incredibly good team like M80. You've got to make the most of your opportunities, which they've had quite a few now on border. It also means for M80, overtime secured at minimum. So, as we saw Hot and Cold take the deep breaths, they do have the pressure relieved. And the pressure goes now immediately back on the Shopify Rebellion as we head back to Armory and Archives.
Misnade there from Surf. Yeah, it's Archives again with the sense, again, double nitro this time around from M80 will make this plant more precarious. And based on initial positions and the body language here from the Rebellion, I highly doubt we see Archives, at least not with the same tempo that we've seen previously. It could end up being a late pivot. Seeing more utility investment over towards the security side, and that's well rewarded.
Reloaded.
Rexon catches Ashen.
5 straight opening picks for Rebellion here in the second half. Shock drone on the move for Canadian, and they can certainly take their time. There's still over a minute and a half remaining.
I think Canadian just relayed Ambi down. Oh, is trying to facilitate Ambi down below as well. So you introduce the vert factor here. M80 could find themselves in a world of hurt if he's able to activate as well. So keep that in mind.
Canadian really needs to be trying to see if he can pop that mirror window as well. Deathmark activated from Ambi. Gunner might be sensing that that was a potential plant attempt, but Surf was sitting quite far back from the window, so 1 of 2 nitrocells expended there for M80. But Gunner does find the kill onto Ambi down below in server and equals things up 4v4. Nitrocell thrown again. The second one too does not connect, and Spoit's got the cutoff. This is a good hold, but he's actually more so looking now down below, of which there is one there. Gunner in West Main. Big push though from Spoit, connects onto Gavin. Quick trade though from Diffuser, but it's Rexon and Canadian getting 1 apiece as Gunner makes his way back up to the top floor in the 1v2. Rebellion have to close this out. Canadian and Rexon, as Canadian will go for the plant. Gunner vault in, catches the head of Canadian. Where is Rexon? Where's the cover? He was towards security. 19 seconds left and Gunner can play the time here and force Rexon into a plant or push situation. Rexon will go for the kit and now needs to opt for the plant or start sprinting and finding Gunner. Gunner's played this perfectly. Rexon has left himself little time. Gunner just has to wait, push, and get the free kill. As long as he knows where it is, he plays it so wonderfully well. Patience from Gunner, as Rexon wasn't quite sure what to do in that situation. Need to show more of it here now on Lair.
Totally agree. They showed some fight back on border, but I think they were simply outskilled, and especially back in that first half, they were outgunned on attack. M80, the likes of Gav, especially Ashen, even in a couple of moments, looked absolutely red hot in form, and there wasn't a whole lot that Shopify Rebellion were able to do to shut that down. We'll see how that dynamic plays out though here as we prepare for map number 2. The bands are Glaz, Sense, Yeet, and Bandit. M80 on defense as they look to sew this one up 2-0.
Yeah, and I think that when you kind of look at Border and some of the statistics, it was highlighted on the desk, Diffuser and Gavin, 14, 12 kills each, but Gavin's 3-1 on the entry. He was the only one, and this is where I want to highlight it, the only one for M80 that got even a single entry kill, and he got 3 of them. That was the one area that was a little bit lacking for M80 on Border, and a big strength for Shopify Rebellion. Alas, though, they couldn't maximize the output of that strength and turn those early advantages into round wins, and I think that ended up being the difference, in the 7-4 game. When it came down to clutches, when it came down to moments, when it came down to capitalizing, M80 was just better at that. I think that the series could be close here if Shopify Rebellion find a way to when they get the advantages, capitalize. When they get the early picks, capitalize. That's really all it is a lot of the groundwork from Shopify Rebellion has been laid, but they're just not finishing off a lot of the early work that they provide.
We've seen so many close series, whether it be best of ones or best of threes between these two organizations over the last several years. In all cases, actually, I'm having a look at their best of 3 history. In every single best of 3, it went to 3 maps. It would be rather unprecedented for this one to fizzle out in a 2-0 in favor of M80. And that just puts an even bigger emphasis on Shopify Rebellion fighting back here. Attacking into Lair is going to be grueling. It's going to be tough. They're going to have to chip away at this round by round and convert advantages that they find or punish the mistakes that are presented by M80 into the Azami and the Mirror for this round, so this won't be particularly fun, but Gav gets caught. Or at least flushed out. Ashen finds the first, trades elsewhere in favor of Shopify Rebellion though.
And 61% defensive win rate this site in NAL. So the fact that it's a 3v3, 90 seconds halfway through this round, and you still have Canadian up on the Monty, you have the ability to push through deep sight and try and avoid that Tachanka with the Shamika launcher. You don't just have to go for a mask plant. You have other options here. And that's what M80 right now are looking to try and defend. They've got the Nitrous Cell, Gavin's playing in office on the Asami behind the desk. They want to deny Shopify Rebellion the ability to go for that default hit. Rebellion need to be switched on here and think, can we offer a different point of attack using Canadian on the Monty? But as it stands right now, they've kept themselves rather still. Spoit's just hanging out at Ops. Canadian's just chilling out at Mezzanine. I do worry as the time ticks down. Rexon is going to go for a potential pinch, open up the balcony wall. But it's still kind of one-dimensional from Shopify Rebellion at the moment.
So if they can connect. They have 4 smokes to Lair. 3 shots from the Shamika launcher. Rexon had a drone for this flank. Gunner's been able to split through, get the kill, and that should be a round stealer for M80.
Should, unless Spoit goes absolutely massive here. Canadian going for the plant. Cover is good. It's great. It's excellent from Spoit. He gets all 3 of them. Needed a huge highlight play. Did Shopify Rebellion, and they get it from the main man in Spoit. It looked as if that round was getting away from them, that opportunity. But this time, guys, this time they do capitalize.
Yeah. Really good play from Spoit. He uses the Rayora Gate to filter them into the position he wanted. Then it was as straightforward as lining up the shots and landing them, and that's exactly what he was able to achieve. And for a player that's been having one of his roughest ever stages, that was a real big step up moment and step up a deliver moment from him. He did all the hard work with the utility and staying alive earlier in the round. It was a matter then of remaining composed. I thought right here, this little flank, despite being on cam earlier, was going to be enough, but as you can see, the gate filtering everyone through server, and one at a time, they just can't land the trade. Great positioning from Spoit.
10 seconds remaining.
Shopify Rebellion snatched the round.
Yeah, and there's only 2 sites of the main sites that are played across all maps that are a better defensive site than top floor on Lair in NAL. So that's a huge round win for Shopify Rebellion. You know, to come into this second map, be able to get on the attack, take a very difficult site, and played it quite well. I think that that's just the kind of rounds that you want to see out of them. Yeah, they lose the opening death as Ashen got the first pick, but the trade was straight away. And then you bring it down to a 3v3, and they don't panic, they don't rush. They had a pretty clear game plan. They don't go for a default plan. Yeah, obviously Rexton gets picked. That was a good swing from Gunner. But Spoit with a good position, trusted himself. Canadian going for the plant. And 4 kills from Spoit in the round.
Drone activated.
Obviously, Border wasn't particularly kind to Spoit. In fact, he only got 4 kills in the entire map. He has evened his kill number in just that round alone. Oh, that's unlucky if you're Ambi. That's a shot through the wall.
Oh no.
You can see him shaking his head.
We can push forward.
He's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. So an unfortunate start to round number 2 then for Shopify Rebellion. There's the range, hard breach on Ambi, but they still have a lot of key utility. They can ramp avert. Canadian can spearhead the push through util down into vents. Main advantage though now offers an opportunity for Gunner to be let loose. He's Skybridge currently, so situated above the front line of this attack at the moment. Ashen does get flushed down to filtration, and Gunner just bides his time on the flank.
I mean, Gunner's going to be a big impact in this round if he can go unnoticed. And it seems as if, indeed, that will be the case. That's at least 1. Honestly, a little trigger discipline. Maybe could have got 2. Depends if Surf was already watching for the potential flank. Does get the kill trade.
Follow me.
And Hayden kind of low, pushing through filtration on the Monty. Now, Logic Bomb will expire from Spoit. Ashen is low. They can get rid of him quickly. It becomes a 3v3 heading into the last 30 seconds of this round as the smoke gets thrown out from Surf. The Candelas will then follow suit. Now, there's Spoit. The main man from the opening round is Canadian going for the plant. Surf from above looking to cover. It seems as if, though, Canadian will not get that plant down. Completely overwhelmed. Not a whole lot that Surf could do to help out as M80 will be able to take this second round.
And they do with confidence. Look, you could argue that the opening kill in that round was a little bit lucky from M80. Obviously, it was a good read from Gav. Lands the shots required. Frustrating for Shopify Rebellion, who still continued to fight in that round. They had the utility required for the filtration clear. They had the ram for the vert. But this flank from Gunner, sure, only 1, but it was massively impactful. Left little room for error at the end and little in the way of playmaking potential for the attack. M80 make clean work of that second round, and it storms for the third.
I mean, the way I look at it is you make your own luck, don't you? And it's just the game sense from Gavin. You see the Monty pushing forward. What is it? Like probably 8 times out of 10, there's likely to be someone trying to play off that Monty and pushing through around the map. So he just kind of sprays through the wall. Yeah, the actual shot itself that lands and hits Ambi in the head is, there's luck involved, but you create your own luck by the game sense and taking that shot. So that's just a, job well done from Gavin to kind of open up the round for M80, and that's kind of been a little, and it's only early on, 2 rounds, very small subsample, but a change for them where they lacked in that department on border. That was the one facet of the game. Despite winning the map, they just weren't really getting a lot of early advantages. So constantly playing in these 4v5s, largely winning them. But 2 rounds in, and they've gotten both of the opening kills so far here on Lair. And Bunks and Briefing up next. So we will see
Loading
all 3 sites in the opening 3 rounds. And puts Surf onto the Solid Snake, and coupled with the Dockerby of Spoit.
The Soliton radar is picking up an enemy.
Throw in the Grim, and you can gain a lot of information this round if you Shopify Rebellion.
M80, of course, have taken the sense out of play. So that limits options as for a direct approach here, and M80 trying to funnel Shopify Rebellion into the top floor clear. They bring a lot of utility to support that. And it's Gavin on the front line. Keep a barrier to support. and it's quad nitro for this defensive lineup. So even if and when Shopify Rebellion get this top floor control, they're sure to then be bombarded with utility. But maybe that's not the game plan here. At least initially, they commit to the green side take.
Do they use the Monty as almost an inadvertent ROU in the sense that, so for those unfamiliar, the ROUs from the Sands go out, the shield screen's high enough that it covers a lot of the vert holding angles, and you try and sneak the plant down below because the stack is usually above. Could they not just try and do the same thing with the Monty? I mean, Canadian's going up above now, I guess, but by banning the Sands, there's just no option for the split attempt. As Gunner gets the opening kill, Canadian trying to keep them at bay here. He needs some help. He gets it from Rexton. Double from Rexton is impactful in the round. Diffuser got traded out. And so far, the clear has been successful from Rebellion. Ashen coming around the back, but it's only the Monty in his face. He'll have to go back down green stairs. Nitrocell from Gunner, and then one from Ashen, but that one wasn't even needed. Gunner's connected. The Monty dealt with. Kit will need to be picked back up again as we've got a 2-on-2.
Yeah, that's a great play from Gunner down below to lob that above, deal with Canadian, who prior to that did a phenomenal job valuing his life and giving the attack an opportunity to clear above. They've now got that control. 30 seconds, no nitro to contend with. Limited utility, though, for this attack to flush out the defense. The last of the Grim Bees go out. There's one flash left, but that's into the Warden. This will take some good heads-up siege from the pair here. 15 seconds.
Power of the radar there for Surf, though, to try and get some information heading into red time. He's going to go above, send Rexon in. Gunner is above inside of R6. A little bit of contact from Surf onto him. Lovely drop shot, though, from Gunner. And Paul Rexon knows there's nothing he can do. He tries to stick that kit, and he's just dead instantly anyway. Big round win for M80. They make it 2 straight here on Lair. I mean, it's the power of that of the ban for the Sens, though, guys, is you don't even have that option. It's not like you have to hard commit for that to be all or nothing. But what you can do is if you send, let's say, 4 above, and you do opt for that clear, you can still have the Sens first floor throughout the ROUs, and that just kind of brings eyes and attention away from those coming in horizontally. Ban it out completely. You know full well they have to clear above. They will be coming, and M80 was set up for it. And they take the Monty away from Canadian.
Who did a really good job right here, just to stay alive. And then facilitate the likes of Rexton to push through. He finds 2. Diffuser also traded. The turning point, though, is that massive nitro from down below. Ashen begging for Gunner, come help me. And finally, he was able to do so. And then with so little time remaining, and the retake up above again, spearheaded by Gunner. This is really well worked around there by the defense, despite some promising attacking moments there from Shopify Rebellion. As you said, the Monty taken away from Canadian. Smoke also benched. Round 4, top floor.
Jammer ready. 5 seconds to insertion. Attacker's objective is to defuse a bomb. Still going up.
Yes, it kind of starts out similar to Border in some ways. I mean, I'd probably anticipate defense is going to have a better time on Lair than Border. I think that goes without saying. 2-1 start. 1 good round from Shopify Rebellion, and then M80 start to get going. 3 straight opening kills, so they're starting the rounds a little bit better. Yeah. Oh, there's a chance though for Spoit. Gunner just standing at the doorway. That's a freebie. There's the first opening kill of the map for Shopify Rebellion, and Spoit's now got 5. Already bettering his total kills from the opening map of Border. You get rid of the tuber as well, so no Zoto canisters, a little bit less delay, a little bit easier to open up the necessary walls. He then gets rid of Gavin. A little double swing into ops will pay dividends for Shopify Rebellion. And there's every world in which they may take this top floor again.
Maybe. We had a sharp start to the round. It's M80 bunker down for the second wave of this attack. Ashen under the pump. Death mark from Ambi. He's over towards that first floor security position, and that pressure's alleviated, but Rexon in the meantime has taken Mez control. And will no doubt work the wall soon. So hot and cold next in line. 19 charges remaining in the Shamika launcher. So again, default's not going to be the biggest of concerns here, I wouldn't imagine. For M80, this is very deep into the round, but it's all this surging pressure around the objective. It's so dangerous to contend with. So many enterable positions now and angles that the attack can look to exploit. 45 seconds and Canadian starts shot calling the final portion of this execute.
Diffuser goes prone behind the desk. They're going to rely on hot and cold. As soon as Diffuser got that one after standing up, immediately traded numbers with Rebellion. Hot and cold couldn't use that Shamika launcher. He was dealt with swiftly, and so is Ambi towards the end. Another wonderful attack from Shopify Rebellion on the top floor of Lair. They take it again. And Spoit a big factor on that site again. 2 attacking rounds acquired for Shopify Rebellion. We got a 2-2 scoreline.
Yeah, they reached the benchmark in a somewhat unexpected fashion, as you were outlining before. One of the most defend-decided sites across the entire map pool, specifically here in NAL. Spot on with Spoit being key in the round once more. The first attempt was his big clutch at the end. This round, finding the opening kill. And a great trade through the mid-round as well. Would equalize the score. Down to basement we go. Last time out. So Rebellion bring the Monty for the map clear. Gav plucked the opener. And it was pretty smooth sailing from that point onwards. Monty now banned out though. We should see plan B deployed from Shopify Rebellion, and it seems to be a pretty one-to-one pivot onto the blitz for Canadian.
5 seconds left before insertion.
Yeah, and just for extra information around that, 61% is the defensive win rate on top floor Lair, and then the other 2 sites being basement and bunks briefing are attacker side at 53% for basement, 66% for bunks briefing. And so the irony in this is that M80 have defensively won the 2 attacker sided sides, and Shopify Rebellion on the offensive won the won the defensive sided side twice. So it hasn't quite gone to script, but the scoreline is maybe kind of where we expect it to be when it's all said and done. And this might be a rush attempt here by Shopify Rebellion. And potentially not. It's just going to be the clear across, as it's full stack for M80, except for Gunner playing the Scopos. Sitting ops at the moment.
Gunner successfully flanked last time out, so Shopify Rebellion should be far more in tune with dealing with it this time, and got a live drone at the moment. I presume he was hurt there. Either way, the attack continues to slowly make their way through this checklist as the standoff ensues. At what point is Gunner make his move, and are Shopify Rebellion ready to pounce on that and punish? Gunner takes no second chances, and he'll transfer back to the objective. Shopify Rebellion now posturing with util. Spoit on the cap. Served with 4 Candelas. Can M80 withstand all of this utility?
Oh, he's back up. Now, there were drones. I was watching the drones that were being flicked as the drop down from Gunner, and it's perfect time onto Spoit. Trade though by Surf. So 1 kill onto the Capital. But it's the time in which he did so, disrupting this attack from Shopify Rebellion. And Canadian then goes down, leaves M80 with the extra player heading into the final minute. Gunner switching back down below, then back up above, caused a bit of disruption, despite what were well-set drones from Shopify Rebellion on that second floor.
40 seconds, so there's plenty of time. There's a lack of manpower now for the remainder of this attack. Ashen needs to be cleared cleanly by Shopify Rebellion.
Yeah, I mean, this is aggressive from Ashen. If Ambi just swings this hard right, tucked into the corner, he can get the kill and be safe. And he does get the kill Lovely play from Ambi, and he gave no opportunity for Diffuser to get the trade. He opens up the mirror window as well. 3v3 heading into the last 15 seconds. This is a big moment. Rexon watching this hatch, expecting Gavin to drop, hits the headshot. Well played from Rexon. He can stay first floor, doesn't need to drop as well. Who's got the kit though? There's 3 seconds. Surf grabs it. Is there a chance to deny? Keep a barrier, blocking the doorway. Cotton Cole tries to go under. He can't. The Kiva barrier goes against him. And now in the 1v2 post-play for Hot and Cold, as Shopify Rebellion have a chance to take the lead on Lair.
30 seconds, needs to make his move, but gets caught by Ambi, who hits some very sharp shots in that round. A close one, but it goes the way of Shopify Rebellion.
Oh boy, a fiery round. We haven't had a lot of those so far. Rex, I'm assuming you saw in chat say that his internet died mid-game. But
when
luckily,
he was going for the peek up the hatch, his webcam was absolutely shitting itself. So I was pretty concerned, but yeah, he won that fight, which was really important as well in denying that flank.
So this was the timely scope or switch from Gunner. And just the reaction there from Surf. Like, you think about the reaction time needed when you're looking down that hatch to then quickly stop what you're looking at and what you're doing and turn, flick around and get that kill. It's easier said than done. That was a big moment from Surf. You gotta remember, they lost Canadian rather early in that round too when he went for the plant, so the blitz wasn't available in the late round scenario for Shopify Rebellion. They go 3-2 up. They take the lead.
5 seconds left. Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
Well, Shopify Rebellion have really started to come alive here on Lair. It's back-to-back rounds. They can seal it here with a bunks briefing attack as well. That would be quite the bounce back after a border that was tumultuous at the best of times.
Nothing to report at my location.
So the Twitch in play then for this final round of the half into both the Mirror, Valk, and the Goyo as well. So the triple threat. Rexon will eagerly be trying to find as much value as possible from those shock drones in disrupting that utility. The sense, of course, still banned out. Just forces the attack here to be a little more creative. And probably does end up taking away the direct approach entirely. It's very difficult to envision a world in which they're able to go for it. Canadian caught, so they lose the Grim. Sharp from Diffuser. It's advantage M80.
Just the second round this half that Canadian not on a shield up. Was the Monty getting banned away? Spoit. Oh, just catches that Nitro Cell. Well, one more second and he would have been dead. And clearly, in response to losing Canadian, they tried to pick up the pace in this clear on the top floor. Surf only has 1 Candela left. They deal with Gunner through Rexon, who's having a very high impact game.
Is it briefing?
He's got briefing. Yeah, he just realized that as well. I mean, you can't really just go rush over to it. You still need to clear out Ashen, who's above in storage. Rexon, though, gets caught in briefing. Maybe just lingered a little bit too long in a rather deep side position. But Ambi's going to go for the plant side of bunks just to maybe try and catch M80 off guard. And the plant looks as if it will be successful. Ambi has just snuck in and catches M80 momentarily off guard. Now we enter a post plant. Despite the fact that Shopify Rebellion may be down a player, they've still got 2 players above, and Ambi can play directly close to the kit. Nitrocell doesn't work. Spoit's ready for the push, ready for the swing. Catches Diffuser and Ashen completely unaware. That Kiva barrier is not blocking nothing. So much vision for Ambi as Gavin is outside of the map, takes one to the head, and Shopify Rebellion go 4-2 up at the close of this first half.
Wow, what a way to cap off the half. Let's throw it to the desk and see what they have to say about it.
Thanks, guys. I mean, this one is a very different story from the start of that first map. Shopify Rebellion, they look like a very different team. The energy's back. That movement is back. Spoit feels like he might be back.
No, absolutely. I mean, where we've highlighted this team even in previous stages, they've always been really well in the multi-frags. They've been doing that even in this series. I mean, they've had 4 multi-frags, 3 4Ks going out already. I mean, Spoit in particular, round 1, this was a beautiful round. They used the Aurora to block off that double door, trusting Spoit was going to cover for that 3v1. Massive play. I'm sure the haters are hating right now that Spoit's getting this done. But, I mean, this is what we want to see from the attacks, is them just slowing down, understanding the control that they have. How can they isolate another player? How can they go for the site? I mean, even in round 4, that was looking like that was going to be an M80 round. They were in a man disadvantage. Ambi, such a strong play on that yellow stairs to throw out the ace charge onto the wall, swing onto the player underneath the camera, getting that kill. If Ambi loses that fight at bottom gold, they don't get that round because that entire site then gets cleared. They get to go for the execute. And also listening to their comms, I will say, well, me and Foxman back, it is a little hectic. I would assume that it would be more, you know, quieter, maybe Troy taking the reins. But overall, I mean, these are the attacks that we were seeing start to arise on that border, and it's no surprise to me that they're ending this half in a 4-2.
I mean, the power behind players like Ambi and Spoit today on why they're able to get so many multi-kills is not because they're just great players. They are, but in professional T1 Siege against the best teams in the world, you have to be set up for situations like that. And Shopify Rebellion falling back to the fundamentals, going slower, always looking to get that execute down. We saw that on the latter half of border. We're seeing it now. Once they are going for it, everything's in position for themselves. They have the utility set up. They've wasted M80's utility. All Spoit has to do sometimes is just play his position and use the amazing aim that he's gifted with, because it's much easier to focus on tapping the people in front of you when you don't have to worry about all these extra variables. So as long as Shopify Rebellion on defense continuously plays a classic Lair, wall after wall, fall back, force M80 to go for these executes, and then let your stars shine, Shopify Rebellion, in my opinion, maybe it's a hot take, I think they run away flawless on this defense.
Wow. Spoit said this could be a turning point. That would be a very big turning point as Shopify Rebellion look to continue this momentum heading into the second half.
Yeah, I mean, well, this sets us up perfectly, doesn't it? If Shopify Rebellion can close out Lair, what a map Clubhouse suddenly becomes. Again, the loser of this series is out of Kickoff and will not go to the major at all, which is just devastating for either of these two huge organizations and teams. The main thing I wanted to see coming into Lair was the competitiveness. We've gotten that. That's now there on full display, and we got it in the second half as well from Shopify Rebellion. You know, kind of in the first half of border, I'm thinking, is this just going to be M80 being far too good? But it's pretty obvious now that, you know, kind of halfway through the second map, there's not a whole lot really separating these two teams other than who's better in the moments, who's taking more advantages of the, you know, the early starts to the rounds, the opening kills, when you find a gap in the defense, can you get 1 or 2 kills? And so far, I think a good example of that, guys, is how many times we've seen M80 get 1 kill when maybe they could have got 2. And on the flip side, every time Spoit is having an impact, he's getting 2 or 3 kills, not just 1.
Yeah. Yeah, the multis have certainly been the differentiating factor between the two so far. As we enter the second half, the bands Kaid, Bandit, Monty, Deimos. M80 immediately respond by bringing the Blackbeard and the Blitz for this opening attack. Ops across. And so I put Spoit in the spotlight again. Highlighted in the roll swap timeout. Posting some great numbers so far, 9 and 3. And some really large impact multis over the course of the half so far. He'll be on the spotlight again for this particular push. If M80 want to go ops, but it's a split attack, so they can't fully focus on that side.
Just going to rush through.
I'm going to call Mez.
I mean, they have been burned off a little bit. They do get the first kill with Pierce, and then falls to the swinging Ambi. That is an aggressive swing from Ambi when he's low on health. And it has just done enough to force back Ashen too. So clearly, M80 tried to bring the aggression to start the second half. And while it did somewhat work by getting rid of Spoit, and that's a big kill, not just because Spoit's been playing well, but you lose the Azami and the ability to play close to default with the keeper barriers, block off, play desk, and deny some of the entry positions. It leaves, though, M80 still at least with their shields up. So Ashen didn't go down. He kept himself alive. Deal with the mirror window, and with double shield, I think plant position over towards Mask is still very much on. This final gas babe thrown out by Canadian as Rexon got a big kill onto Gavin. No Candelas, the Ying is done.
Oh,
Ashen to push through from bathroom. Smoke thrown out with a random pistol shot, doesn't connect. They're going for it. This is their plant attempt right here, right now. Surf's got to be ready for the Shamika launcher, and it has landed perfectly. Hot and cold, taking down to 1 HP, getting out of Mask just in time. But it makes his ability to plant now very susceptible. You still have an impact with Ambi and 4 bullets in the Shamika launcher. Ashen trying to time the run. Got the flash, connects, pistol, lands onto Rexon. Good clear from Ashen. Caught though by Surf. Now Shamika launcher's done, so Hot and Cold can go for this plant until he's just taken out by Surf anyway. And Gunner now by himself while he does deal with Canadian. He's low on health. 15 seconds. Temporarily pulled the pistol out. Reload. Timing swing from Ambi connects. And Shopify Rebellion take a 5-2 lead. Full of confidence.
Yeah, it feels like they're reaching a little bit of a flow state at the moment here on Lair. The layering of the util was really nice in towards default. They've done a lot of hard work prior to that as well to afford themselves the player advantage. And despite Gunner getting the opening kill, once again, M80 fall short. That's now 3 rounds in a row where they have gotten the opening kill and failed to convert. So indicative that the mid to late round play from Shopify Rebellion, they've really stepped it up a notch here on Lair. Looking a little more comfy, especially comparatively to Border. Down to basement. They're only 1 away now from the map point. So yeah, pretty incredible how quickly your fate can change in a best of 3. Didn't feel like it was too long ago we were discussing about the potential 2-0. As I said before, the history between these two organizations, it would go down as the first ever 2-0. In every other best of 3 these guys have played, it's gone the full distance.
Well, it's shaping up to follow that, isn't it, the way this is now panning out. I think the pendulum has well and truly swung. It almost now feels inevitable that we go to Clubhouse to settle this. 2 more rounds required for Rebellion.
Reloading!
And despite the scoreline, 5-2 lead, it's kind of strange that Shopify Rebellion have only found the opening pick once here on Lair. They've been consistently down a player and yet finding round wins. It's a sign of a good side. Ambi hasn't made a noise. I don't know if he's been thrown down. Spoit's the one that's made contact. Really well played. Ambi just kept himself tucked in. Spoit then comes for a bit of help. Draws the attention of Hot and Cold to him, and then Spoit gets the kill onto Gun. That's a wonderful double set play from Spoit and Ambi. Played that perfectly, completely outplayed M80.
And that should be the round confirmed. And with it, map point for Shopify Rebellion. Unless we see a big fight back from M80. Still some key gunners available. All 3 of these guys can absolutely pop off in their own right. Being able to find those playmaking opportunities now, they're going to be scarce. It's a full peel back to the objective for the Rebellion. All 5 members basement. And there's a lot of groundwork required here from the attack of M80. They at least have Ram for Vert, Shotgun secondary for Vert. So they might be able to find a little bit off that. Handful of flashes. They're not completely starved of utility, but being 2 players down naturally into this style of attack is such a huge disadvantage.
Well, I mean, also the discipline right now from Shopify Rebellion, and you saw it with Canadian, rather than lingering around blue stairs, he just falls back and plays sight. Like there would be, you wouldn't hold it against him if he just plays the stairs position. That's his job. That's what the smoke roll's gonna do. The Lair with the gas babes, but instead it's like, you know what, let's just keep ourselves alive. Let's play this safe. Let's take the numbers advantage into the last, 30 seconds or so. Really force them to have to drop and push. Outnumbered, they don't have the ability to flood. I think this is a really calculated and smart round from Shopify Rebellion. It's not flashy, they're not ending the round quickly, but they're just getting the job done. Fuser and Ashen double sprint through the gas babe. As Ashen's trying to layer out these air jabs along the way. Again, as soon as you enter this site, though, you're just naturally outnumbered. Even if you find one, which they don't, Ambi connects immediately. He goes double digits. Gavin gets at least one kill from that first floor. But it's going to be a 6-2 lead. Inevitably, it seems this one's heading to Clubhouse. That all 3 maps, once again, will be needed to separate these 2 teams. And while we're not there just yet, there are 4 opportunities for Shopify Rebellion to lock that in.
Yeah, there's a reason Fox gets paid the big bucks on the desk. His hot take being that Shopify Rebellion could well run away with this half. And that's seemingly the case. In a last-ditched attempt to recover here, Fabian will call the timeout for M80. That it will take 4 rounds consecutively, perfectly, to push OT. I don't quite know if they have it in them at the moment. Shopify Rebellion looking quite comfy on there.
Yeah, I don't think even Fabian can really turn this one around at the moment. There hasn't really been a lot of success for M80 on this map. They've only had 1 round where someone got a multi-kill. That was Gunner back in the 3rd round, which was the last time that they won a round. Even though they've got no penny kills, never really converted on them. They allowed plants in the first half, many multi-kills over to the opposition in Shopify Rebellion. And even when they try to pick up the pace or do something on their own terms, Shopify Rebellion have had all of the answers. To their credit, they've looked really switched on here on Lair. And if I'm going to be honest, this is actually looking more one-sided than what we saw on Border, which is pretty strange considering the first half that we saw on Border, guys. But the fight back that we got from Shopify Rebellion in the second half, kind of made it seem far more of a contest. At one point on Border it was 5-4, and it probably could have gone either way. Because at that 5-4 margin, it was 3 straight to Shopify Rebellion, and then M80 kind of just went bang bang, and the map was done. Just kind of shut it off quickly before Rebellion could do much more. But so far here on Lair, we're now up to 5 straight and a 6-2 lead. It would take something very special here from M80 on the attack as well to bring this map back. Yeah, Clubhouse surely is destined.
So Funk's briefing then for what may be the final objective choice here. Shopify Rebellion. In response, M80, they elect not to bring the sense despite it being available. Their toolset suggesting it could still be pretty direct. Good luck for flank watch through green. They have the hard breach that's required on this site, facilitated by the ace. Ashen can posture on the glass quite aggressively and towards the objective. With no warden on the side of defense, that then poses a significant risk. Minute down. It's just groundwork at the moment. M80 do have boots on ground, though, over towards the 2nd floor. As more pressure gets laid in towards green. It's pretty patient from both teams at the moment. Gav on the solid snake. Valuable tool in identifying the exact position of those up above. It is currently a 4-1 split from the defense. So 4 members 2nd floor. Ambi, well, he's not too far away either. Flicking over towards the green stairs position as well. So it's currently 5. Does that then prompt the pivot from M80? I think it might.
My location is clear.
The pace is so slow though right now. I think that favors Shopify Rebellion. They'd be more than happy with this. You still got the 3 gas babes, you still got the nitro cell, you still got an impact, you got the solas. They can get the information later in the round. M80 have been kind of like poking and prodding which way do they want to go. First floor, direct. They want to get something on the top floor, but gunner's low over towards Mez. Whatever happens from here, it has been the slowest round of Lair thus far. Surf does get downed. And Ashen connects onto Rexon with the Glaz and then catches the head of Spoit. Well, from the slowest round to then all done in about a 10-second span. A little spree there from M80 and keeps this map alive. All right, not done just yet. That bell ain't wrong. Finally snapping a 5-round win streak. M80 have won their first round since the 3rd round.
Well, it was a tertiary site, so it's difficult to get excited on behalf of M80. It is a box ticked, but we now need to see a full rotation from them. So you think about top floor, how difficult that is typically to break down, despite the strength that we saw from Shopify Rebellion on that. Even basement at times can be incredibly difficult as well. Not to mention they need to go back to Punk's briefing and do it all again. That's tough. Goyo Glaz banned out. Good Glaz play in the last round there from Ashen. We saw a full pivot over towards directly hitting the objective from M80, and then Ashen kind of given the license to do his solo split above, and it worked quite well. That tool set now has been taken away, and M80 will need to adapt further.
Locations upgraded.
Yeah, I mean, it's all well and good for us to kind of sit here, guys, and say that we think this one's got a Clubhouse, but hopefully for the sake of Shopify Rebellion, they're not sitting back thinking the same thing that this one's done. They've got to stay locked in and actually convert and finish off their good work for what's been a really good map. That was the first round that finally M80 have looked really dominant. So that would be a little slight concern out of the tactical timeout. At least that's something that Fabian will be happy with, though, from M80, even if they do lose this map ultimately. I mean, akin to what Shopify Rebellion somewhat did back on the opening map, where they just saved face a little bit towards the end, made that scoreline look a little bit better. Maybe M80 will be kind of doing the same here on Lair. Shopify Rebellion did string together 3 of their own attacking rounds straight in the first half, so it's not as if it's impossible for M80, but they will have to better that by 1 and make it 4 straight. Evan just gets rid of the barbed wire with the Rotero. I will say though, Shopify Rebellion for me in the last round and now this one just seem like they're more than happy to sit back a bit more. Almost as if they don't want to even present a single opportunity to M80.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Maybe just trying to play further into the clock game though. M80 with slow wind-ups, slow build-ups. And on a site like top floor, that can then minimize win cons late round, especially if the default plant becomes untenable. Schenker not selected, so it's primarily going to be on Canadian to deny that position, and then Spoit with his positional advantage at the desk. Although he could be susceptible to Diffuser, currently lurking down below on the bark. He is forced out. Minute on the clock. I don't particularly hate this position from M80. It feels rather strong. Canadian has a huge responsibility here.
Oh, the reposition from Spoit though is perfect. So gets the kill onto Gunner. Gasbabe's being thrown out from Canadian towards Mars, towards that default plant. Ambi lurking below and will catch out Diffuser. Diffuser thought that he was by himself, free to do what he would like from below, but Ambi went hunting. 30 seconds left for M80 to pull off a huge round from here, and it starts with Gavin. Shuts down Canadian and keeps hope alive for M80 here on Lair. While they're still outnumbered and the time is dwindling, you feel like you can never count this team out. Hot and cold, we're going for the plant. Ambi to try and deny from below, but he is unsuccessful. It will be a successful plant. Ashen captures Ambi. Well, hot and cold does lose his life. It's down to Gavin and Ashen in the post plant, and Surf will go straight on it. He will not hesitate, but he will die. It's a double swing kill from Gavin. Rexa to try and salvage this, or we may need more rounds on this map of Lair.
Wow. My goodness. The timing there from Spoit was so unfortunate. Didn't have the Kiba barrier to block that hole in the wall. His initial read was absolutely spot on, but the second he turns around, M80 able to pounce in the post. Good plant position selected by Hot and Cold. That was a big difference maker in the round as well in securing that plant.
Oh boy.
And so Shopify Rebellion, they just have to be a little careful.
A little. I think a lot. Tactical timeout for Shopify Rebellion. And 2 rounds straight for M80. From 2-6 down to 4-6, forcing the tac timeout. And it's the way in which these rounds are kind of being won too. So one, I mean, obviously the 9th round, the one that was before this one, very dominant, very one-sided. That's fine. You can have those. But then this round on top floor, Master and R6, it seemed it was as if it was rather locked down, but the lack of the Tachanka, the gas babes were used early. It meant that default plant was available late in the piece, and it was just taken here. Like there was just no one that could deny Hot and Cold, and then they got him after the fact that he'd gotten the plant down here. Needed to deny, could not. That left the door open, and M80 take it. 4-6. Now this is the big one now. Out of the tactical timeout, if Rebellion don't win this, it's 5-6, and their mental will start to get tested. It seemed almost like a surety that Clubhouse was calling. But it feels like M80 have now got other plans as we go basement.
Yeah, the pressure is certainly starting to reach boiling point here on Lair, and I agree. If M80 are able to secure this round, then it gets real for Shopify Rebellion. Have their
where would they go as well?
Their map. Yeah, the site choice as well. If they lose this, would be much up in the air. It's a position you just really do not want to find yourself in at all costs. Easier said than done though. And into the 11th round, M80. I'll bring the Blackbeard. Gunner already aggressively lurking here. Like the Kabi. It's a 3-2 split from defense. Interestingly, the clash above.
I dare him to try.
Canadian likely to feel.
Uh-oh.
Gunner does find one. It is traded. It leaves a Canadian though on an island in Armory, all by himself.
Taking my cover back.
I mean, not ideal to lose the Dockerby, but I think they'd be content. At least they took the smoke off the board. Very strong operator, good for the denial. Holding spaces like the stairs positions, especially when it's basement on Lair. It's a very strong operator that's been removed for M80. And yeah, you lose the Dockerby, but you do still have the solid snake, so you can get some information, play with your drone work. Some rather late Razor Bloom shells were just set as well by Surf, and same with the Griswold mines as well from Spoit. So they feel like they've gotten enough information in the round to probably hazard a guess as to the way that M80 are gonna want to attack this. I think the big thing for Canadian here on the clash will be, can he get involved?
Yeah, maybe. It doesn't seem as if they've fully officially flushed out top floor. At least Shopify Rebellion aren't aware of it. They'll confirm that pretty quickly with the snake. Been a basement stack from the defense for quite some time as Ashen gets caught by a Razor Bloom. Filtration much easier to capture with the smoke in the grave. So M80 will look to exploit that. Hot and Cold has 2 summers for the range hard breach once the attack gets control. So still plenty of positive signs here at the moment for the attack. Clash force back with Vert. All already open, so Ace not necessarily a requirement. Ashen will look to layer util D. 35 seconds on the board. A crucial round for both in the context of this series.
Setting up a sequential breach.
I mean, they know where Canadian is, so I wonder if they'll try to opt to go around him. There's not a whole lot that they can really do to disrupt him head on, except for these frag grenades, which are...
Nade dump.
Yeah, I mean, that's about it. Just go in, hold the angle, maybe try and force Canadian to go SMG up. Good little reposition as well from Ashen to just help out hot and cold. Surf finds a very acute angle to get rid of Ashen, who positioned himself very nicely on the Blackbeard. Canadian's down, by the way, and suddenly it's a 2v3. Make it 1. There's only Surf that's left. M80 have been able to get plant down. Canadian had no impact on the clash, and we need all rounds of regulation on Lair. Is it falling apart for Shopify Rebellion? They were 6-2 up. They had won 5 rounds straight. But M80 are storming back here on Lair.
My word, what a storyline that could be developing here on Lair. If Shopify Rebellion from that position go on to lose the map and lose this series, that would be a huge headline. Certainly not concrete at the moment, but that last attack from M80 was beautiful to watch. The nade dump onto Canadian, Blackbeard cover onto the plant. They were able to make a decent position look a lot better than I think it really was on paper. Some really, really good problem solving and teamwork at the tail end of that round. Well rewarded with the round win, and now 1 away from OT.
Win or lose here, regardless of what happens, I'd love to get the boys on the desk thoughts regarding Shopify Rebellion's switch up, because it feels like they've gone 6-2 up and then they've just packed it in and said, let's just go ultra defense, let's just sit back. And that's created a lot more opportunities for M80 to slowly push through, take map control, get good space, open up fights on their terms. And now you're in a position where mentally you think, okay, well, do we want to get aggressive? Do we want to try and deny them at the entry positions, try and be a little bit more aggressive? You're not probably going to do that on Master and R6 though, right? So like, it's going to be more of the same here.
But they do
just feels like they've gone into their shell. Oh, the Tachanka is great. I don't know why they didn't bring last time.
They bring Nitro. Yeah, that certainly was an intriguing decision last time out. It opened a very late window in the round for plant default last time, and that was exploited really well by the attack. So clearly they've taken lessons from that. They'll double down for the area denial. They maybe do. Maybe they switch it up instead of going full ops. Do we see an R6 pivot, for instance? We see something a little bit cheeky here from M80. At the moment, it is ops. So it might be a rather default from them, at least early on. Util dump over towards Mez. Does Gav get the catch? Well, no, he doesn't. But Action does.
No way.
Diffuser in on the action as well. It's crumbling apart for Shopify Rebellion.
Yeah, I mean, M80 have just picked up the pace. They know full well that Shopify Rebellion mentally are probably crumbling. So if we can get into their face, force the fights early, take some good position, they've got full Mez control, they've got the opening 2 kills, there's no gas babes for denial. They are well set up now, and Rebellion are scrambling. There's a lot on the shoulders here of Spoit. Surf's got to start using the Shamika launcher probably earlier than he would like. And it's M80 that are controlling the pace. Look, they've pulled the foot off the gas just ever so slightly, and then bang, accelerate once again. Gavin finds the headshot onto Ambi. At this point, the Tachanka's useless. He's just getting swarmed. That is a flawless round to end regulation. It's 4 straight to M80. Shopify Rebellion are on the verge of humiliation. They were 6-2 up. And arguably playing some of the better Siege that we've seen from them this stage. Deserved to get this to map 3. But it does seem like Fabian's done some wonders in that tag timeout ever since. M80 have looked a different team. More aggressive, more in sync, and more in control. All in control.
Wow, the last 4 rounds, it just felt like 2 completely different teams inside of the server, where M80 have come alive, have thrown everything they have at Shopify Rebellion with the attitude that we have a 3rd map to play. Let's just give it our all here and see what happens. And that risk reward and that balance that they're able to find is great. And then on the flip side, I think I largely agree that Shopify Rebellion not necessarily playing to close out the map, but also playing to not lose the next round. And that kind of approach and that mentality, that more negative approach, at least that's the way it looks. It might not actually be that. And again, the boys have access to the comms, so they'll have a better read than we do. But it just felt like the body language inside the server, some of the compositions they were bringing, etc.
10 seconds to insertion.
Didn't quite work, didn't quite connect. And M80, to their credit, were exploiting that massively with the tempo that they brought, the pressure they were applying. They've been able to break that damn wall well and truly down. Into the second half, and sure, Shopify Rebellion on defense, but all the momentum is with M80 on the attack.
And you're at a point now, even if Shopify Rebellion do win the map, it'll feel like they've escaped with their lives intact, rather than taking a dominant performance going into Clubhouse and, you know, feeling that confidence going into the third map. Even if they win it now, it's like, well, the confidence levels, regardless, would not be as high as they possibly could have been had they closed this out when they should have. And all the confidence is certainly now flowing with M80. So basement it is. This was the last time that Shopify Rebellion won a defensive site. Of course, remaining on defense coming into the overtime.
Reloading ammo.
I think that M80, though, just seem as if they've got a full understanding as to what Shopify Rebellion want to do and how they're playing, and there's no adaptation. And it's something that Fox kind of said, I think was back on Border. As Surf wins the battle from below, something goes their way. Is that a fight that you're going to win more often than not? Probably not. But Surf hits a good shot, they get some reward, but that might not be enough to halt M80 if they want to get aggressive.
Brace yourself.
I think they might. Snake info side will spot 2 of the 4 players basement. And the call goes out to Ash, and let's send for the Blackbeard, try and get some space. Maybe try and find a pick back. Util dump, but Gav capitalizes. Rexon slain. So it's a 4 versus 4. Spoit now under the pump toxin. This is a key position that he needs to hold.
Ash has pushed in, but he hasn't really got the company because they got delayed by the gas babe. That was wonderfully placed by Canadian. The 2v3 in favor of Shopify Rebellion. Fighting back. Diffuser, what a headshot. A chance there as well. Canadian drives on by, catches Gavin. 50 seconds for Diffuser to win the 1v2s. The final gas babe thrown out from Canadian. Just needs to play with Surf and play together. Do not allow Diffuser to have 2 1v1s. He's got the time to try and create them. Have the cross, have each other's backs, and this round is yours as Surf capitalizes. Finally, Shopify Rebellion now stop the streak of M80. It was 5 straight to Shopify Rebellion, then 4 straight to M80. But now, Rebellion have got map point again.
Can they convert? Some better moments of positivity in that last round. Some good sharp mechanics from Surf to find the opening kill, which I think gave them a bit more comfortability in the round. Spoit did his job as well over towards Toxin. And we're finally able to deal with the Blackbeard, and that was a well-composed 2v1. Started to look a little sketch as Gav was on a rampage, but as mentioned, Spoit stepped up. So too Canadian.
I'm reloading.
Oh, there, right
Maybe
there.
an
That was the
opportunity there.
chance.
If Diffuser hits that shot, it's probably a different story. So again, a lot of these rounds are coming down to very minute detail, very small windows of opportunity. That time it doesn't quite connect for M80. So Shopify Rebellion, map point, back to basement.
Yeah, and don't forget, M80 had a difficult time on their own defense in the first half. They won basement once, they won Bunk's briefing once. That was rounds 2 and 3. So, I mean, I'm not really envisioning this as if, like, M80 are coming back to a strong suit. I mean, this is just going to be a case, if anything, for Shopify Rebellion to maybe think, let's bring our own pressure down. Let's change up the tempo. We were probably a little too defensive. Well, now we get the opportunity on the attack. You've got a little buffer. You're up 7-6, so even if you lose this round, you can then close it down in the next. I'd like to see them try and be aggressive as well, because that's what was working for them back in the first half. They brought good tempo, they were fast, they were the ones who were aggressive, they were playing the map really well, and then it all just went away in the second half when they kind of went into their shells. Fell back, more defensive minded, cost them. Interestingly enough, a big operator change here with the Echo. It's the first time that we're going to see Echo all map long.
Yeah, I like the inclusion though. Can offer typically a lot of information over towards this warehouse push, which can sometimes be a bit of a blind spot for the defense. We'll see if M80 are able to leverage that. So the outlines here from M80, they are playing a pretty advanced frontline position. Brexton, not good damage. Impact follow-up doesn't land. Spoit elsewhere takes hit, but Ambi wins his fight onto Ashen. So it's advantage, Shopify Rebellion, 5 versus 4, midpoint of the round. Can they close it out, or does M80 have a say in it? Oh, no Gavy's good. He is so good.
Gav is great. You could even finish that sentence, and then the advantage was already gone. Spoit ties it back up, 3v3. Shopify Rebellion are just trying to take this to a head-on fight. Information from Surf with the radar on the snake. Ambi desperate to search for more. He got tagged up. He wasn't quite sure where from, but Surf got the kill onto Gavin. Shuts down the main man for M80. But Ambi is very low from that tag, and Diffuser and Gunner are more than capable here late in the round.
There's every world in which there's a stack of util deep in the site here as well for the attack to deal with. This might not be as simple as just trading out the 3v2 here for Shopify Rebellion.
Still a Yokai as well that's up in towards stock. Gavin just sitting and watching that one from the grave as we head into the last 20 seconds of the doorway. Diffuser catches the head of Spoit. Well, this leaves Shopify Rebellion very susceptible. Ambi's low and he's in stock. He's on cam. He gets immediately annihilated by Diffuser. Surf, you've got 5 seconds to clutch this one up to send us to the third map. 1v1, no time remaining, and it is all 15 rounds required on Lair. M80 have now got the opportunity to eliminate Shopify Rebellion from Kickoff.
Oh my word. M80 continue to dig deep and find these win cons. It was a massive round from Gav over towards Warehouse, and then the dynamic duo to seal the deal. That too is certainly not assured. Here's a look back at the Gav clip. 4-4. To win the second shot onto the Canadian was nasty. Diffuser and Gunner, they pushed forward. They found Spoit. Then they had a read stock onto Ambi. Diffuser, sharp shot onto the second. Bought enough time so that the 1v1 was winnable on the clock. And so the pressure has reached boiling point for Shopify Rebellion. A map that arguably should have been closed 20 minutes ago has now gone the distance, and they need to now close it defending top floor.
I mean, I tell you what, you couldn't ask for a better map. It's been a roller coaster. Back and forth momentum swings. A 6-2 lead for Shopify Rebellion. For those who maybe missed the earlier portion of this map. And M80, to their credit, have just dug in and now been able to win 5 of the last 6 rounds. I mean, would you label this a choke? To some degree, yeah, you kind of have to when you had a lead that significant, and the momentum that was so significant. But if they can just scrape on by at a Clubhouse, then all is forgiven. And then who's to say what that map's going to look like? You even think back to yesterday, guys, in the Wildcard M80 series. 8-6, 8-7. You know, and that was after M80 won the first map pretty convincingly. There could be some similarities here in this series too. But defense has not been the strong suit here on Lair. This site has only been won defensively once from both teams, but it was Shopify Rebellion. And it's Surf onto the Clash.
Yeah, they elect not to bring the Tachanka. M80 will probably identify that as then a win con late round. They can plant default. We have seen that once before.
But can you get default? So look at the position here for Rebellion. They're going for a hard mez stack.
Yeah. It looks like he's trying to cook something up here over towards Ops. They're trying to formulate a plan to deal with this clash. They can get this early pick. It sets them so nicely up. Diffuser will go below. So it's an Ash charge below. Is Surf ready for this?
Surf's going to get pressured out by the Grim Bees. The Quan Hive launcher, actually the deterrence alone. 90 seconds in the round and the pressure is high. Ops control established. That Mez hold now has been forfeited. And as you mentioned before, with no Tachanka, Mask is vulnerable to late round. What that means, though, guys, is Canadian needs to save these gas babes. They can't be used as much as a mezzanine deterrence. They need to be probably used for the plant. They've only got the one Nitrocell as well.
Minute on the clock. Nobody inside of the server wants to put a foot wrong. Nobody wants to be that opening death. As Ashen marches forward. Has
an early gas babe.
It is. That's one less for default if M80 posture for it. 50 seconds now remains on the clock.
Second one as well. And it's a push through. Spoit was not ready for it, but Canadian was with the SMG. Still has one gas babe left. Candela thrown again from hot and cold. This is where Surf, though, now sits himself over towards Mask. He will deny that position physically. As Diffuser goes searching through the doorway, there's only 20 seconds left, guys.
20 seconds.
Big shot.
Diffuser gets a key kill.
Oh, the swing, though, from Ambi. It's an absolute calamity towards the site, but it's in favor of Rebellion. Gunner has now got 8 seconds. And he cannot be stopped. This is a third map that's required. Gunner could do nothing at the end.
On that second map of Lair, but they were able to just get it across the line. Bitterly close. In that 15th round, the club would go, and it feels like probably the most fitting map in the pool to test just how good these two teams are.
Yeah, I mean, Shopify Rebellion probably, I think, would be sitting back after that map thinking, we made that so much harder than it needed to be. We could have easily closed that out 7-2, 7-3. But credit to M80 for fighting back. And then they're probably thinking at 7-7, we could have just stolen that outright and crushed their hearts as we get the bans, Kayed Bandit, along with the Capitao and the Ying. Yeah, you're right. I think Clubhouse will be a really, really good way to close this series out. It's just such a good test of just so many of the basic fundamentals that we've seen in Siege for many, many years. Which also then opens up the opportunity for who's going to be able to break past just the basic fundamentals and make the high, big impact plays. And the clutches. Clubhouse a lot of the times can see a lot more 1v1s and 2v2s, especially when good teams meet good teams on this map. It's sure to be a fascinating end to this series. And again, one of these two not going to the major is just a story in itself. And the fact that it's a guaranteed story, whether it's M80, the Munich major champions from last year, who, yeah, maybe slipped and stumbled a little bit, 6 Invitational, but I think a real solid addition in Ashen for what is already such a strong lineup. And Shopify Rebellion, who have probably been slipping and fumbling for some time now, but the lineup and its core is just so powerful that you question, how are they slipping and fumbling?
Locate and defuse a bomb.
Strike ready to support.
And for M80, the fact that the way that the wildcard series finished, again, dominant win into an 8-6, 8-7 loss, surely it couldn't happen again, right? Pretty dominant on border, 7-4 into 8-7. What happens if it's 8-7 again here to Shopify Rebellion? Then you got to start asking question marks of M80's mental if they lose this series.
The bans for the first half, it is Ray, Bandit, Cap, and Ying. And that will alleviate some of the pressure for the primary hard breach options that remain available for M80. First side of choice is basement, but as is quite evident, there's early pressure from both sides up above. Canadian inside of bedroom at the moment. Now Con, he peels back. Drop stand does not get caught. So that's a pretty early win for M80 in terms of map presence and control. Pretty low risk, not too slow. And it's a full bunker down on the objective for Shopify Rebellion. And I'm very interested to see what the mentality and what the overall approach is from the defense, because as Lax was alluding to on the desk, we were saying it on the cast, when they were put in that map point position back on Lair, they started to play incredibly defensively and almost playing to not lose as opposed to actually win and close out the map. It looked like a rather negative and defensive approach, which was in stark contrast to kind of what actually propelled them to that position in the first place. So here on Club, of course, a map that maybe offers a little less in terms of the maneuverability and adaptability, and it's a little more difficult maybe to inject that flare. I'm still intrigued to see what approach are they going to have. Do they try and disrupt these M80 executes? Do they maybe layer the utility a little bit earlier? Or are they going to sit on their heels and really force M80 to go through these thorough clears, which, to be fair, can sometimes work out on a map like Club. Surf gets the first, so that's good proactive utility early, at least in this round. It now affords them the advantage, 5v4 for the remainder of this round.
Yeah, and no more sledge, so the floorboards aren't going to be more damaged. And look, I was thinking the nitro cells might need to be saved for the double shield setup that M80 have got, but you find a pick onto the sledge, you take that, it's a big win. It's going to be a bit of a split here, so Blue with maybe the moto drop coming from Ashen. Good gas babe from Rexon just to delay. The surf is a little bit low, and you got Gavin for company as well over towards Blue on this push for M80. They may be down a player, but they've got some really good spread pressure. Main stairs, Moto, Blue, but Surf hits the headshot. Gavin, Swift though with the trade. Ashen's, by the way, deep in towards Church. He's the one that's got the kit as well. Adrenal Surge activated by Gavin, 3v3, but they've just lost 2 instantly. And Gunner's the only one by himself as he pushes through Moto. There's no time left into the round. It's Shopify Rebellion that will successfully defend basement to start Clubhouse.
Yeah, a couple of really key moments there from the defense. The early proactive Nitro was great. Being able to ensure that Ashen got limited value from his push through Church late as well, and also trading Gab through Blue. Handful of big moments where they tilt the other way. They probably would have seen that defense crumble pretty quickly. So some good positive early siege from Shopify Rebellion. Good to see. It's now just about trying to maintain that sort of as a baseline going forward. Intrigued to see what the side of choice will be up next. Whether it be cash or bedroom. Canadian's camera, by the way, is...
I swear, he just entered demon mode. It was like, I swear his eyeballs were like the only thing that the pixels were having issues with. And that was terrifying.
Hey, he's an equal top fragger right now, so he's unleashing.
Yeah, well,
at the moment.
Yeah, maybe.
10 seconds
Bedroom
left.
for the initial switch.
Wall secured.
M80 electing to bring the Monty. This actually was just Deimos as well. Double shield in totality with Blackbeard also available.
You can stop.
And SR in response are going to play the Mirror, which can be a powerful tool on this side. Think about denying Jacuzzi entry. It can be used over towards cash side as well. A bit of catch top red we saw from Canadian too. Intriguing to see. M80, it's a bit of a toss-up as opposed to which approach, if they want to go for the sweep or the direct. Either is viable with this kind of composition of in play for both sides.
And Clubhouse as a map has kind of shifted to, it's just pretty much outright 50-50. I mean, globally, Church Arsenal's the most defender-sided side at 52%, and then it's 50% and 49% for Cash and then Gym Bedroom. Not a lot, but in NAL, interestingly enough, Cash and CCTV a whopping 70% attack win rate. Basement's 50-50 on the dot, and this site here, Gym Bedroom, is defender sided at 57% with a 7% plant percentage. Clear across again, double shield here from M80, 2 rounds in a row. Last time was the Blackbeard and the Blitz. This time they bring the Monty. And
Surf could run out garage here. Oh, he gets caught though. Diffuser caught it.
By Diffuser, yeah. And that was at the same time Canadian was trying to get aggressive over towards Cash. He'll fall back on. They've already dealt with Gunner and Gavin, so why not? And Hot and Cold tagged up. He's in Gym. As Ashen is also making the push in. It's aggression from M80. Hasn't quite worked out to the degree that they would like, as Rebellion have been switched on. This is a strange Gym Bedroom.
That slip in from Ashen was so close to being devastating. He almost got that final pick, but Shopify Rebellion have weathered the storm. 1v2, Diffuser, isolated Logi. He has a lot of time to work with here. Spoit and Ambi need to work as one.
Oh, well, easy swing. There's a Demon Canadian that's locked in right now. A 2-0 start for Shopify Rebellion. Yeah, I mean, strange one. I feel like for M80 that a couple of the players were maybe on different wavelengths because they had a pretty heavy cash side, well, CCTV side hit, and then they had the jacuzzi hit as well. So, and then there was one going into gym, which was the Monty. They were kind of all over the place, which there's nothing wrong with that, right? Because what that can do is cause a lot of disruption to the defense. The defenders don't know necessarily which way they should be looking, where a lot of these entry positions are coming from. And a good example is, you know, Ashen being able to slip in towards bathroom, get 2 kills. Probably because the defense for Shopify Rebellion is just all around the shop, knowing that they're fighting towards cash and CCTV. There's one out in the balcony, one slipping into gym. You know, so you can't really look at all of these positions in one go. It's not a one-dimensional hit from M80, but then at the same time, you lack a lot of the trade potential as the attacking team.
10 seconds left before insertion.
Cash and CCTV. This is the pivotal one.
Must win.
You know, 69% attacker win rate in the region for NAL.
That's nice, but it won't be so nice for M80 if they aren't able to actually convert that opportunity. It would really propel Shopify Rebellion forward on this map and start applying serious pressure onto M80. They elect to bring double primary hard breach with the Ace and the Hibana. Hot and cold to resume shield duties here on the Monty. So he'll have the versatility of pushing rafters, or they could go for a frontside hit as well. They don't have a ton of utility to dump in towards that rafters position, so it's suggesting to me that maybe Conside is the primary choice here. Hot and cold's positioning would me confirm that.
Keep an eye on Ambi. The way he's just moving around the map at the moment. A secret, blue stairs, and he's dead.
Yeah, to the grave. Good caster curse. You've had a couple of those. Hey,
maybe I was onto something. Maybe I... Well, the problem was that he kind of just kept going back and forth. And, you know, secret windows, especially on this site, are always just going to be watched by the attack. So I think it was just a case without having actually seen it, where he's just gone back at a wrong timing.
Means the garage is clear now as well, which is a little unfortunate, but Rexton does bite back, so they lose the class. It wasn't clear, so a misread from me and perhaps from M80 as well. Rexton, Rexton, and he doubles down. Now Patona Cold on an island, but Gunner catches rafters from Breach. So a 3-3, plenty of time on the clock for M80.
Yeah, I mean, they still had one rafters, but because they lost Ambi, what that did was they had no one lounge, so the bottom of garage was susceptible. And then on top of the breach being opened, it kind of forced, I think, Rexton to get aggressive and start swinging and taking fights. To his credit, found a couple of kills. But this is good positional advantage now for M80. There's still a minute, and you're starting to now force these gas waves out of Canadian over towards the server rack. You can get someone out in the rappel, get this cross. This is a difficult position for the defenders now.
Surfgo's position. So he can shotgun deny below, but no nitro. M80 may still find it a challenge though to go for this default plan. Surfgo's back up above. So it's cat and mouse at the moment. 30 seconds on the clock.
Diffuser though is watching for that first floor flank. That does leave Hot and Cold by himself. But to be fair, he's already got the cover from Gunner anyway in the rappel. So once he's in, no one should be able to run over and stop him directly. This is actually really aggressive from Diffuser, by the way. Incredibly aggressive. Trying to take the fight towards Surf, anticipating, as you said, the push down towards Lounge to deny from below. But he's now lost that opportunity, and then Spoit gets the headshot. Well played, Shopify Rebellion. A warranted reaction from Rexton, who did some really good work earlier in the round rafters. Again, when they lost Ambi, I think Rexton's thought was, I don't have any cover lounge anymore. He was playing that secret lounge position, and he could maybe get overwhelmed. He hit some really good shots, playing a bit more aggressive rafters. Yes, he dies. Yes, that then opens up that position for M80 to push the Monty through. But credit to Shopify Rebellion because they don't panic. They don't immediately go and send Surf down the lounge, gets caught by Diffuser. He holds his position. I just wonder if maybe Diffuser had his time again. He wouldn't opt for that aggressive push towards top red. 3-0.
Attack timeout, M80. Fabian probably a little displeased. Losing every one of those rounds really hurts them in the context of the map. Yeah, I think for that play specifically, Diffuser's push, sure, he dies. It probably wasn't the end of the world. I mean, at the end of the day, both Spoit and Canadian were double-crossed into CCTV. There was nothing Hot and Cold could do in terms of getting the plant down, and because they'd already crossed gun and did find either of them, it was round over regardless of what play was made really down below anyway. So just some big fundamental flaws in the final part of that push from M80, and Shopify Rebellion exploited that absolutely perfectly to quite literally just run circles around them on the site. So M80 are now being backed into a corner from some of the highs that they've been able to experience this series. They're now probably at their lowest point across these 3 maps so far.
Yeah. Oh.
Oi.
That should go.
What is going on?
What is going on, bro? These games are wigging me out.
I don't know if it's our sleep deprivation because we've had to wake up so early, or if the games are actually malfunctioning. Either way, though, we are back inside of the server. Azami and Glaz out of play. Back to basement. M80 desperately need to start hitting this scoreboard.
Yeah, I mean, they do need to get at least 2 rounds in this half, like at minimum. So you've got 3 opportunities to do so. Out of the halftime bans, tactical timeout, if there's a better opportunity to get back into this, I don't think there is one. This is going to happen now. And Church Arsenal isn't, this behemoth lockdown site in this region. It's definitely gettable. They go back to the double shield setup, which I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with it, but it does slow their pace down. Puts a lot of over-reliance on Ashen and Hot and Cold to be effective in this round, because a lot of the other operators are kind of setup ops, like with the air jabs, the Quant Hive launcher. The Striker only really brings the frag grenades and the tin cans, so I mean there's not really much else in terms of overwhelming the defense. You don't have a Ying, you don't have a Deimos, you don't have a lot of these more aggressive operators. It's Hot and Cold very early through dirt. Now, no Vulcan canisters for the dirt position, which means he can actually sit here for quite some time. Now, he's not going to push forward, but he can just sit here, hold his position for the next minute or so if he wants. Get information.
It's starting to draw the defense back to site naturally. So at the very beginning of the round, the defense had presence second floor, and immediately all 5 players basement. And that's kind of job done. Hot and Cold's taken such a low-risk play there to now allow the likes of Ash and Gunner, etc. to take top down. So they'll be pretty happy with, if you want to call it a trade, I suppose you could. Very much though in favor of the attack.
Don't know what that gas babe's really accomplishing though. Oh, that's nice. Maybe just to force him back just enough in hopes that Diffuser's angle is... I feel like I'm stretching at that point. Hot and Cold could have easily just retaken that same spot and Diffuser, plays it properly. I think he's just given an opportunity and Rexon's taken it. That's a good shot from Rexon, forces out the lol in chat as well. And 5v4, this is now very difficult for M80 when you got double shield and one's just hitting dirt, pretty much inactive for the next 40 seconds. You're not able to open up the floorboards all that well either, so all this first floor control, largely isn't really being utilized as well as it possibly could be with a ram or a bark or a sledge.
Maybe was able to slip through the lodge in the meantime with double impact, so Kitchen Hatch very vulnerable for the attack. They have no idea either, I don't think.
Impact. Is there much below for Ambi? There was one. Oh, the lovely line of sight here from Ambi. Well, this round's cooked for M80. If there's a round that I'd love to see Fox and Laxing break down, it's this one, because I'm genuinely curious as to what the real plan of attack is for M80's double shield setup pushing into basement. It's largely they just did nothing. Like Monty just sits dirt. They bring no soft breach for kitchen. So you're right. very early on, the Monty presence dirt is already forcing people back to side. If they were kind of lingering in other areas, they're all back, just in case. But then with all that afforded control first floor, you don't bring any soft breach, so you're not doing anything there. You had one player behind the Monty. I don't know. We didn't get to see the diffuser angle, but he dies somehow. Like, that just shouldn't really be happening. It's a wonderful shot from Rexon, I'd have to imagine. It's a very confusing round for me.
Yeah.
And now they've got 2 rounds to win 2 rounds. Like, this is starting to get real concerning for M80.
Yeah. 2 rounds to hit the benchmark. If they don't, their spot in kickoff is very, very much up in the air. We've seen a good fight though from M80 previously. Back on Lair, we saw a 5-round streak from Shopify Rebellion, which was eventually stunted by M80.
Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb.
The way in which this has played out, the complexion of the match and the situation we find ourselves in right now, especially given it's 4-round streak from the offset, and the tack timeout's already been used by M80. It just feels a little different this time around. They need to really dig deep here. This is a huge tester for M80. Their biggest test of kickoff so far.
For Gym Bedroom. Which means you've got the leeway here if you're Shopify Rebellion. When you see this Blackbeard, if he gets into a position where you can throw a nitro at him, go for it. I mean, there's one there that connects onto diffuser. The aggression is more so coming from the defense. M80 haven't looked as nearly scary as what we saw from them on border and at various points at Lair. They've looked far more passive here on Clubhouse attack. They're just struggling to get into good positions to find angles of attack that favor them, and that's a lot of a credit has to go the way of Shopify Rebellion. They look really locked in defensively. They're not making any mistakes. They're not giving, you know, really a lot of free kills over to M80 or finding themselves at a significant disadvantage where they can get overwhelmed and M80 can flood site. Rexon is playing really sharp. He looks really locked in.
Yeah, for a map that has been largely 50-50 in this region, it looks anything but. It's been such a slugfest for M80 to find anything to go their way here on Club so far.
It feels like APAC.
Had a couple. Feels a bit like APAC. I mean, they've had a couple of open kills, failed to convert. M80 pushed through though, so Jacuzzi open. Gav exploits that. There is presence below though. Keep in mind those nitro cells as well. That being said, most of them expended. It's just Canadian with one in pocket.
Oh, Canadian, that's not the time for the utility. He got overwhelmed. And finally, M80 get that flood game to work, but then they lose a couple in the transition after that. So when they get in, they get the couple of kills, they got the advantage, but then Shopify Rebellion just have players in good set positions to then capitalize. Once M80 do what they wanted to do, Shopify Rebellion have the response. So 3v3, 40 seconds left. But Gym Bedroom is certainly vulnerable. There's no real control here for Shopify Rebellion. They've got a couple of cameras. Shield down quickly for Gunner, and Hot and Cold getting the plant down inside a bedroom. There's no real denial from below. At least enough of pressure, though, to force him off the plant. As Ambi's towards main stairs, he's the one that can push up quickly.
Yeah, there's a BPC in bedroom, making things a little awkward here. 15 seconds on the clock.
Plan is successful, and a double kill goes the way of M80. They've finally been able to overwhelm Shopify Rebellion's defense. They had to work for it really hard in this round. Round's not done just yet with Surf, but he just is struggling to find anybody. Good hold outside Jacuzzi from Gavin, and then Hot and Cold shoots him in the back, helps out his teammate. Finally, M80 are on the board. And not before it's too little too late either. This next round is super critical. If they can find a second attacking round, it's game on.
Yeah, absolutely. Did a phenomenal job there. Spearheaded over towards Jacuzzi. Able to get deep positions Bath pretty quickly. And even despite Shopify Rebellion then bring it back to a 3-3, and with there being some really good info on the site that initially stalled out that first plant attempt, they had drawn out enough of those nitro cells and eventually starved enough of that information to get the plant down, and they're already pre-positioned, having a really good read as to 2 below. Caught them on the cutoff, and then it was a pretty simple flush at the end. So to cash we go. As you said before, this has been strongly attacker-sided, generally speaking. M80 had some teething issues, especially during the execute last time out. Went for a pretty default kind of standard setup. It allowed the defense to overrun them. If they get into a similar position this time around, that's something that they will need to tune and address.
5 seconds to go.
Reloading.
Can we try to avoid collateral damage this time, Red Hammer?
Tell you what, one thing that Hot and Cold's done really well in this series is he's getting his plant percentage well up. That was his 5th plant in the series. No one else has more than one.
Stinger's active!
They might need one more from him here to close this half. Canadian goes on the clash. Help deal with the Monty. Pretty similar setup for Rebellion. The only difference is with Canadian, the way he's playing Lounge, he's providing a lot more cover for Ambi to get aggressive towards Garage.
Ambi gets caught
out. Oh yeah, Canadian's speed force back. This has left Ambi in a bit of a tricky position, but he got the cross. Oh my goodness, Ambi should not have been allowed to do that. That is so incredibly punishing against M80. He was the one who was trapped in towards Garage. He's the one who had the frag grenade thrown at his feet. He made the cross, got the double kill. That is insane. Eventually does lose his life, but how much damage has he already caused?
Yeah, that is a devastating start to the round. Not only to find one, but the double down untraded. That's a massive loss. Clash still standing to counter the Monty. Limited hard breach, in fact, none remaining for Gav. This is a terrible position the attack find themselves in. No utility either. This is one Lion scan. One Lion scan and a Monty into a clash. You do the quick math, M80 should never be winning this round.
Well, the big thing is the Rexon battle right here, right now. Gunner can hit a headshot, clear out Rexon. It makes it 3v3. They get Rafters control and they can move around the clash. Rexon's got a lot to do and he's getting some help from Surf. With the gas babes, Hot and Cold, down he goes. Credit to Surf, that allows Rexon to pop up. He gets the kill onto Gunner as Shopify Rebellion on the verge now of a 5-1 lead. Gavin just sends it in. He's just trying to walk past Canadian, gets the guard break. At this point, credit to Gavin, the game sense ticks in. He knows that even though there's 40 seconds on the clock, he has to force his way in, and he has to try and force his way past Canadian to find out where Spoit and Surf are. Knows there's one towards red, but tucked in towards construction. Surf gets the kill, and Shopify Rebellion are now 2 rounds away from knocking out M80 as Team Canadian is locking in. Let's see what the boys on the desk have to say.
I mean, Xenox, I hear the laughter there because it's crazy to think that 2 hours ago the storyline was completely different, right? We were feeling completely different. M80 had the control. Shopify Rebellion, they were nowhere to be found. Lax, it is very different right now. Shopify Rebellion, I mean, it is all going their way.
Yeah, honestly, I like their approach, especially in the bans. They got rid of the Capital, they got rid of the Ying, they got rid of the Glass. That immediately tells you they're focused more on the game of stopping their mid to late round attacks and site executes. And then also even for a round like that, they can't force a player outside of Raptors. Capital isn't there. They don't have a smoke to push off of. They don't have a Ying to essentially flash the player. I mean, all in all, SR is playing a very strong, fundamentally sound site where they can just hold down. They can just bunker. They are going to force all of M80 into their line of sights, as we see time and time again. I mean, so many times M80's caught off guard, and this SR is a strong SR, one that we haven't seen, which is why I said save all, you know, despite the hate, wait to see what we see in best of threes, and this is the SR that we all know and love.
It's because they know that M80 can't execute, and I think that's the biggest downfall. They understood that if they just play back, create walls, force M80 to execute, they know it's not coming.
And they said something exactly to that effect.
Okay.
Guys, they're executing shit.
They have 2 shields, okay? I have
one's gonna go through blue.
Ambi clearly telling everyone how he feels about the attacks coming his way.
And that just goes, they understood it when it even came down to map 1. They incorporated it into map 2, and now we're seeing it fall completely through for M80 in map 3 because they understand that the executes, they don't have problem solving. They don't know how to get past SR's walls, and even if they do, that's where the classic SR big plays are going to come from, but not before they have to go through problem after problem.
I will say, I will play devil's advocate here. This is Clubhouse. Sometimes all you need is that one round on attack. Ending a 4-2 split, even a 5-1 split, isn't the end of the world if you're transitioning over to the defense. Because if they can have a flawless half, that one singular win on attack can really push them over the edge and get them a win here. And we possibly don't even see overtime if they have the exact same stellar of a defense.
Right, it's a big ask, right? A huge recovery needs to happen. The mental game in what we're actually seeing in the lobby.
No mistakes.
Do M80 have it in them? That's the question. Shopify Rebellion, clearly they hold the momentum right now, but we'll see.
Yeah, and I'm going to double down with Laxton, guys. We know more than anyone when it comes to this map in the APAC region. It's typically very defender-sided, but I find that's more due to the lacking of skill maybe when it comes to attacking. This is NAL. These are supposed to be the absolute top players. A North American team won a major. Attacking in Clubhouse shouldn't be an issue. And when you look at the statistics in the region, it's 52% attacker win rate on this map in this region. So agree with Lax, and certainly in APAC, I'd be right now saying it's not done yet. M80 on the defense can certainly get the job done, even with just the one attacking round. But it shouldn't be the case in NAL.
I feel like there's quite a few things that probably shouldn't have happened over the course of this series that have transpired, so you just never know. M80 at their best can do this. Are they at their best right now? Have they been in the first half? No. It's a game of two halves. They can flick a switch, they can turn it up, they can bring that pressure, bring that heat in this second half. And to be fair, Shopify Rebellion, they didn't close out Lair in regulation. They put themselves on a 5-round streak, and then we saw M80 push them to the limit. Now, this is going to be an even more extreme case of that, but the precedent is set. Shopify Rebellion, can they close it out? It's a massive question, and thankfully, we're going to get an answer over the next couple of rounds, or potentially more, if the fight back from M80 is real. The bans for the second half: Thermite, Ying, Headband.
Yeah, and it was 6-2 in favor of Shopify Rebellion on Lair, and we were sitting there thinking, yeah, this one's probably done. And then M80 brought it back. And it's 5-1 on Clubhouse. So I'm definitely not sitting here thinking this one's done, because M80 are such a quality outfit. They've got the ability to bring it back. It's just all about round by round. They're on defense club. It's an interesting first lineup, and certainly a first round strategy where they bring Capcam, Mozzie, the Azamis over towards Kitchen, can drop Patch. They're bringing aggression to start the second half on defense. I like to see that though from M80, facing potential elimination from Kickoff. They are the ones that want to try and take it to Shopify Rebellion, but Ashen is indeed cleared inside a Kitchen, and it may backfire.
Surf with the catch from up above, but Gav doesn't immediately peel. He stays over towards Stock, finds the trade onto Ambi, and brings it back to a 4-4 with Deimos in the grave. It's not the worst case scenario for this M80 defense. Shopify Rebellion will now pivot. Canadian to send it dirt with shield. There is Goyo in play, so acting under the assumption that there will be some stall out, and in fact there is. You can see the outline from Diffuser.
Got to reload.
He won't aggressively overpeak the Blackbeard here. Instead, he will prio this utility or wait for Canadian to clear it himself. It will be the latter. 60 seconds now on the clock.
Oh, Rexon just tried to send it through, but the EDD catches him. The Capcan pays dividends, and Insert with a wonderful headshot there on a hot and cold. Gavin there for the trade. Canadian so low on health because he's got to be very cautious with that shield. Needs the help from Spoit, who drops through the hatch. And Gavin will collect his head. Canadian has to put the gun up, and it's an easy kill then for Gunner. M80 on the board to start the second half. It's 2-5.
High intensity opening round for the second half. We saw some of that trap utility prove devastating there for the attack. I tell you what, if there was no Capcan and Rex was allowed to get deep over towards Armory, cover that plant, maybe deploy a little more sense util if you had some in pocket, that would have been a massive difference maker in that round. He still had 3 available. He could have connected them with Surf, held down long, plant probably would have been pretty secure. But instead, Spoit got stranded on the hatch, forced to drop, Canadian low on HP. That was massive. It's not every day of the week you will see a Capcan quite that influential. evidently was, though, there in round 7. 2-5, now the scoreline.
Bomb located by attackers. 10 seconds remaining.
But you've probably got Shopify Rebellion fans that are nervous right now after what happened on Lair, and M80 fans that are probably nervous right now of what could still potentially happen. Everyone's just nervous and not sure how this one's going to finish. If anything, I almost feel like it's destined for some kind of overtime. Because Shopify Rebellion would not want that. As they're 2 rounds away. But I love that from M80. Sometimes you just got to sit back and praise. They don't just go full 5-man stack bunker and allow Shopify Rebellion, to kind of get off to a start and a half where they get to do what they want to do. M80 kind of just said, nope, we're going to play aggressive. We're going to bring aggressive operators. We're not going to just fall back. We'll take the fight to you. And it worked in their favor in the end. It started off a little bit back and forth. And it just sets the tone. Doesn't mean you have to play like that every single round, but it sets the tone and says to Shopify Rebellion, this is what we can do.
We have some time.
Yeah, it was good proactive defense in that last round. And the layering of the traps were the Achilles heel of the attack. Plays out a little differently this time, though. Aggressive. Shopify Rebellion already pushing through. Ashen, first kill. Gav, second.
Nah, too quick. Like they had Ambi pushing up main stairs, but he wasn't well set. He wasn't there just yet either. And then Spoit by himself. It's just one-on-one. Like it's just one by one by one. The plan itself for Shopify Rebellion is sound. The execution is wildly off, and M80 will benefit. It's flawless from M80, and the nerves continue to trickle in for Shopify Rebellion. 5-1 up, make it now 5-3, 2 straight for M80. And more importantly, it's actually 3 of the last 4 rounds.
Yeah. No, I agree. The plan seemed okay. Execution, though, it just fell short of the mark. When you're playing a high-risk, high-tempo style like that, where you want to snowball the breach, your execution, it has to be in sync. You need to open those trade opportunities. It's been a talking point on the desk. It's been a talking point about Shopify Rebellion. Too many low percentage, isolated fights with no tradability. And that round there is a perfect display as to when it goes wrong, it goes devastatingly wrong. That's back-to-back for M80. Now to the most attacker-sided site on the map. We saw a clean rotation first time around from Shopify Rebellion, and M80 are gunning to replicate that.
And the concern right now is, we've played 8 rounds on Clubhouse. There's only been 1 attacking round win. So the inability to attack is pretty notable, which is a bit disappointing overall when you can factor in this region has Clubhouse sitting at about a 52% attacker win rate. Clubhouse globally is at about 50% margin. But it also, if you want to look on the bright side of life, is, well, maybe both teams are just really cracked at defending. Maybe a good positivity angle on it. And it certainly is the case, but in that round, I mean, Shopify Rebellion were just well off the coordination, that's for sure. And they're going to have to get better at that. And one thing that was spoken about on the desk, and rightfully so, was the bans that we saw in the first half. So, like, you've got the Capitao here to help clear out Gavin. There's no catch. So this needs to be a focus point of attack here for Shopify Rebellion. Clear out rafters. You've got the utility to do it. Find that pick. 5v4. Take the space. Get breach opened up. It's pretty default Clubhouse, but you have the tools necessary to execute this.
Yep. Well, Gav's had some massive moments in this best of 3, and he will be put under the pump here in the 9th round to try and hold on and at least take one with him if he is to eventually be taken out, traded out, and that position cleared. Utility follows. Gav fires back. It's looking sketchy for the attack.
Oh, he should be dead here.
Oh, but the second layer lands. Good clear in the end. 4-4. In the meantime, Ash just turned back.
The other thing to keep note of was Gunner. I thought maybe he would stay around bedroom just to maybe go for a potential jump out late round if Shopify Rebellion gets someone on that CC window. Gunner, to me, I don't think his position is known. but if they don't go CC window, his impact will be pretty much nil. So it's going to be an intriguing end to this round. At some point, he'll either opt to rotate back or down. It seems like he's going down, and he'll make his way most likely towards lounge.
Could be a...
Ambi was watching from stock.
Angle, but
yeah.
Ambi caught from stock. Absolutely. That's clean from him. And so a big reliance now on the Tachenka to space out this attack.
And opens up the pinch here into sight massively. If they want to play CC window, you've got rafters, you've got breach, you've got down below.
And Ambi's facing Tachenka by playing this vert. So hot and cold is completely unimpactful at the moment. This should be a
That's not unlosable.
Rebellion.
But yeah,
it's tough.
I think the big issue here is the time, and Hot and Cold will just send out the remaining bullets of this Shamika launcher because he's low on health. He can't do much else. You may as well just force that clock even further down. Flash thrown in towards Cash. Double stack. Diffuser down bottom red stairs. Big kill from Ambi. Onto Hot and Cold. Canadian going for the plant. No denial from below. Nitrocell needs to hit. That seems off. And indeed it is. And it will be a huge attacking round win for Shopify Rebellion. They put all the pieces together in that round and have now got match and series point against M80. M80 are on the verge of elimination from Kickoff. Oh boy.
Wow. 3 opportunities to close it out in regulation, and that was a pretty clean and compact attack to really nail home that confidence for them and the momentum they've built, or I suppose breaking more so the momentum that it seemingly felt like M80 were beginning to establish themselves. Now backed into a corner as the Deimos and the Mirror get banned out. Starts of the round, it looked sketchy momentarily, but then the second fire was impactful onto Gav. They spent quite a bit of time posturing for the attack, but the backstab from Ambi, who prior to that also got a key kill onto Gunner, was beautifully played. They were able to just put him in the right position at the right moment, and he converted. So credit to Ambi, up to 11 kills here on Club. Do M80 have something to say about this?
Well, the last Blast International event that M80 did not feature in. Do you want to hazard a guess?
Did not feature
5 seconds to insertion.
The organization, obviously a different team at the time.
Attackers must locate and defuse
Given
the
you've
bomb.
brought it up, it's going to be something crazy like Copenhagen.
Not that crazy. No, it was Montreal 2024.
I don't know, what was it?
I literally just told you, Montreal 2024.
Sorry. I think I cut out on my end. Oh, it was 2025. I was like, wait.
That was the, if you recall, that was the CL4L run.
Right.
Where they got through the LCQs. Yeah, since then, though, the M80 organization has made every last international event. Of course, going on to win the Munich Major at the end of last year. Now need 3 rounds consecutively. Well, that run of events comes to an end.
It's gonna run out.
Really thinking about this.
Minutes on the clock. You can feel the tension inside of the server. Canadian drops.
It's bloody
Bold
Batman.
play on the Monty.
A Canadian jumps down. Nothing Asher could do about it. M80 look very apprehensive right now, like they don't want to make a mistake. When you're on the verge of elimination, you know, one critical error could be your undoing. It's Canadian that hits the headshot. Batman himself, after dropping through the hatch in logistic, opens up onto the kill of Ashen. 90 seconds, advantage for Shopify Rebellion. Ambi was disorientated. Gavin hits the headshot with the pistol, but it's all falling apart. No, Gunner, big kill onto Canadian, shuts down the Monty in a timely fashion. Needed that one desperately for M80. 3v3. And can now look to turn attention back towards the site.
Yeah, bloodbath up on the top floor. As the defense peels back to basement, things reset. It's an opportunity for Shopify Rebellion to open hatches, deploy utility. 4 cents ROUs remain, and maybe Wrexham will try to leverage that. Could maybe try and exploit a play through blue similarly to last time. That being said, though, the castle complicates things. Does have a frag grenade if he wants to clear that barricade, but it will, of course, give away his position. 35 seconds. Shopify Rebellion preparing for the drop.
Frag grenade opens up. No, it doesn't open it. It's a barricade. Oh my goodness. Rexton's thrown it a little bit too under, a little bit too far. The drop down coming from the hatch. Surf stays inside the kitchen. Rexton at least got the kill, and Surf landed his. Gunner, you've got 15 seconds to see off. A little shake of the head, a little grimace as he locks in. Needs to clutch up the 1v2. Red ping, a chance to get Rexton, and does do so. Surf gets off the kit. He'll need to go for the kill. Surf does find the kill. Shopify Rebellion will knock out M80. The Munich Major Champions will not head to Salt Lake City to defend their crown. They are out of Kickoff.